welcome. I'm so glad you made it. Today we're going to talk about demographics and branding. It's going to be super fun. And to help me have a wonderful time at the party today is the amazing Nia, Vixen of Fiction. She is an absolute delight. And of course, as always, you know him, my best friend and brother from the same mother, Tom. I've dragged you through this many decades. We're still here. Hello. We were actually having such a good time. We may have lost track of time backstage. So
sorry, everyone.
Yes. We were having a pretty good time, actually. So, and before that, I was grossing out Megan and Eva with eyeball facts.
I'm glad I missed that part.
Yeah, I'm really glad you did too. And instead, I grossed Nia out with these ribs that I once had in a undisclosed town, where it was barbecue ribs. I ordered them. They were steamed pork ribs, had a little bit of barbecue rub sprinkled on top after they were steamed. And it came with a side of barbecue sauce, and they called them barbecue ribs. And I was like, I don't want to be here anymore, Tom.
Oh, what is that?
I literally did cry. Y'all, normally I don't cry, but I was so frustrated and saddened. I did actually cry. I was glad that the restaurant was low lit. And we walked a quarter mile from where we could find parking to go to this restaurant. And I was like, we came all this way and they steamed the ribs.
And I'm sorry if you come from a place where that's how they do their ribs and you don't understand what we're talking about. Come down south and have some southern barbecue, and you will understand.
Yeah,
we don't do that.
Good smoked meat will bring you back to life. I know this because it brought my dog back from the brink of death, and she lived 3 more years when we started home smoking meat, chicken.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I love a smoked turkey. We almost can't even go back to oven roasted turkey even for Thanksgiving. Smoked turkey is so good.
I normally do not care for turkey very much. I find it kind of gamey, and I don't care for it. It also tends to be dry, but with smoking,
it's so good.
It will resuscitate you. When you have given up hope on the world, a home smoked meat will bring you back to the living. I mean that, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
We had the best slow cooked smoked ribs for the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
We ate them all and forced my husband to put more on the smoker.
Yes.
We were just he's like, I don't know if I have enough smoke time. And I'm like, we just need 6 hours.
Yes.
Do you have 6 hours left of heat left in that smoker? Because they ate the ribs up.
Yes. I have been there. I don't know if it's still there, but outside of Austin, Texas, there is a barbecue joint called the Watering Hole. And when I was in Austin, we went to this, we made a special trip. We knew that we would probably be there 4 hours before we would get to eat because the wait is literally that long, even when you come early. We came an hour early and we still had a 3-hour wait. And the food was amazing. And I thought, this is the pinnacle of my life. I actually seriously considered moving to Austin, Texas, y'all. I started making plans, trying to figure out financially how I could afford this move. For real. And then we started smoking our own meat. And I was like, our meat, look, no disrespect to the Watering Hole, they're wonderful, but our meat was even better. And I was like, oh, wait, I don't have to have been a Texas pitmaster for 30 years to be this good or better. Oh, hold the phone. It is possible. It is possible for you to have only been smoking meat maybe 6 months a year, for you are so good it is better than anywhere you could get commercially prepared food. We got our little smoker, at a Salvage World or something?
Yeah.
How much was it?
75.
75? It's literally a box, and in the back, it has a line that goes out to the propane tank. And we have one of the widow balls, because it doesn't, you need hardly any heat for this. And you just have your chips and stuff. It is so easy. Y'all, it requires so little to eat like a king or better. I'm just saying, if you are like, I don't know that this world is any good anymore, I just want it to all end in apocalypse, may I recommend that you consider smoking things. By the way, fun fact, you can smoke sweet potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Barrett. Hello, Barrett. Don't forget the like button, everybody. Very sweet. So on that note of like, yes, vegans, can I interest you in a smoked baked potato, which we have done in the smoker and we very much enjoyed. And you do not need meat involved in the smoker to have smoked baked potatoes be delicious. We smoked russets. Russets really love to absorb that flavor. Red potatoes less so because they're so waxy.
Yes, like any watery vegetable. So
smoked eggplant is
We smoked russets on 4th of July also, right along with it.
It is wonderful when they talk about campfire potatoes. They're talking about smoked potatoes. So yes, there is food for everyone that can be prepared in the smoker, and it will bring you back to a happy place without the need for, a doctor visit. I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe the problem that you're experiencing is not proper mental health issues as much as just poor food options. Yes, you can smoke cheeses. You can cold smoke cheeses. And it's entirely possible. And I mean, a smoked Gouda, baby. Smoked cheddars. You can smoke a brie, by the way. If you like brie loves to be smoked. I feel like I'm saying innuendos and I don't mean to, but you can take it how you want to. If you just want to like feel all silly and giggly at home going, she said smoke a brie, go for it. Take your innuendos and I hope you have a wonderful time. I'd probably be giggling with you if I were there. So let me go ahead and say the hellos before yes, I'm just saying. Try it with a little bit of like cranberries on the side, like fresh mashed cranberries and a little jalapeno. If you can handle jalapeno, if you can't, even green bell peppers. Not much, just a little bit, and it really adds something amazing going on. I'm just throwing that out there again. You did not ask, and I'm saying that. But let me go ahead and say hellos to my darling Eva. It's been forever, like a solid 10 minutes. And my sweet Megan, hello, darling. We were talking about writing backstage, and I think several people will be writing while we're broadcasting today. So that's going to be super fun. Please let us know your word counts when we come back from breaks. I still want to know, even though, again, I am not advocating toxic positivity. If you just want to chillax with us, we are totally here to keep you company. Regina's here. Hello, sweetie. How are you? And are there any puppies in your life? I would like to know. Tom is over here doing double duty in the chat. Loves smoking meats and a few veggies. Yes. Anything that like you can deep fry, probably pretty good in the smoker. I've had people smoke fresh spinach and made a wilted spinach salad, and it was the bomb. And by the way, you don't necessarily need bacon then. For like those spinach with bacon dressing. And it was amazing. Outlining and editing videos today. Oh, that sounds wonderful.
You mean same, Barrett. You mean same. So
I'll say real quick,
you are exactly where you need to be. You are in the exact right place because you are here with us today. You are exactly where you need to be. You're not behind. You don't need to catch up. You are exactly where you need to be.
I will say this, though, from all my experience doing smoking, the easiest way to understand if something will smoke well or not is just remember smoke clings to water. It's how you make liquid smoke. You literally just pass smoke through water. And when you're smoking meats or veggies, you're getting the smoke to attach to that water. So as long as there's water in there, it's great. That's why, russets, amazing. Red potatoes, not as much. Just you don't get a lot. And also why you always want to brine that meat so it has more moisture in it to hold in more smoke.
So with sweet potatoes, it works when they're fresh because they are heavier with water. And what we do is we slice them like crosswise, like big rounds. And then we smoke that. And if it's still not quite cooked enough when we're done smoking, we'll then quickly fry them or microwave them. They don't lose their smoke flavor. And they're really quite delicious. And, of course, beta-carotene so healthy. Hello, good fiber. Barrett says, that's a good tip, Tom. I came for the marketing and left with a deeper knowledge of smoking things. I mean, we keep talking about the mug should be, I learned something today. And there is Barrett helping us out, trying to catch up so I can be ready for you on the 16th, Nia. Yes, we're going to do the 10K relay on the 16th of this month.
Friday.
On Friday. Yes, we're doing that. Is it already this Friday? Oh,
it's already.
The time.
We're already almost halfway there. What is time for real? Like,
I don't.
Yeah. Insane.
Time flies when you're having a wonderful time. So Nia, do you remember the schedule for that off the top of your head, or we can talk about that?
I believe Zara's going to go first, and then there's going to be a lunch break because that's the time that most of us on the East Coast I know are eating. So we're going to have our lunch break. I believe Kate's going to be writing, so people, if they want to keep writing, can go over there. And then I'm going to take over right after lunch, and then it'll be me, Sherry, Chandra, and then Glory. You're going to end us out in the evening.
Yes, I think what I'm going to be starting at around approximately 7:30 or whenever Chandra drops the writers off over on my Twitch stream. Because that is how we're going to do it. We're going to do the whole thing on Twitch. It's going to be wonderful. We hope you will join us. We are essentially doing a reunion of our write-a-thon group that we did during the write-a-thon. We're having a reunion. We're going to do a 10K day, which means Glory's got to get up early to get started.
You can do it.
I can do it. I can do it at least one day. And Megan's got us some tips over here about flaming hot Cheetos with lemon. Tastes delicious. I bet it does with the tuna fish. I bet that really does compliment it well. Yes, I was regaling Eva backstage about wrinkly eyeballs. Our mother had macular degeneration, and she had lasers to smooth the wrinkles out. Because if you've ever driven at night, or you hear people talking about driving at night, and they get like a huge burst of light when an oncoming car, that has to do with the back of your eyeball and the state of it. And so because of our Ehlers-Danlos, as we age, we get wrinkly eyeballs there, unlike elsewhere. We don't get wrinkles on the face. We get them in the back of the eyeball. It's an odd situation. And so they were using lasers to smooth out the wrinkles on the back of her eyeballs.
Oh.
And so the doctor was telling us that you don't actually need eye fluid in your eyeballs to see when you're an adult. You only need fluid in your eyeballs when you're a child so that there's plenty of room for everything to grow. You know, when babies are born, they actually cannot see us. Their lenses haven't finished growing yet. So we were talking about that and what the doctor told me, but I'm not going to tell it to you here because it was more of the horror line. Okay. So that's where I'm going to drop it off. But anyhow, so demographics and branding is the subject of today. Okay. Which means we're going to talk about figuring out your demographics for what you're writing, or because some people are like, I don't want to get out of my comfort zone. I know what kind of like branding I want to do. So we're going to also sort of reverse engineer this of figuring out the demographics that appeals to, which means you may have to play around with genre because it depends. But we're going to figure this out today so that figure out how to work with anybody's requirements, any writer's requirements, but really any small business owner. Because let's be honest, I got my start. Technically, I got my start as a tutor. When I was tutoring students, I was in high school and I was tutoring college students at Ole Miss. And I would put up flyers. I had to figure out what appealed to college students in the mid and late 90s. And so even as a small business owner, I was figuring that out. And then with the Video Star, I had to figure out how to appeal to the kind of people who rent movies. And you're thinking, doesn't everybody? But people like targeted branding more than they like generalized branding. People tend to ignore generalized branding. So we want you to get the biggest bang for your buck, including just your effort. You know, the time you spend, that's effort. And you could be spending that time with your family. You could be watching movies or reading books. You could be doing other things that you'd want to spend doing. So still a buck. It's still effort. So that is what we're going to talk about today. And like Nia is here to tell us about her Instagram and like just a few tweaks she made and how her Instagram is already taking off.
Yeah, so one of the things, you guys know Doll Cecile, she's on the show quite often. I told her, I said, I tried to do the Instagram at one point. I did pretty well. And then I'm just like, it's not for me. Same thing with Twitter. I was like, just anything social media. Like YouTube seems easier for me because I'm like, I can post a video when I feel like it and people either like it or they don't. So I was like, that was easy. This Instagram thing, they want you to be on there. You got to do this all the time and people have pretty things and it's a lot. And I don't like taking pictures of myself all the time. I don't take pictures of myself. Basically,
Wait, you have a YouTube account and you're not into the narcissistic navel gaze? Wait.
No.
How will you ever succeed?
Even all of my first videos rarely had myself in it because I know what I look like. I'm not marketing this. I want to market the thing that I'm doing. So everything that I put out has always been what I'm doing, not this. And I always felt like Instagram is about this, which is not me. But I did make a few tweaks, thanks to Doll. And I don't know how or why, but I guess it's working because I went from 400 to 600 subscribers in, what has it been, less than a couple of months? So, and not doing.
Are you talking about from the conversation about doing the framing?
Your aesthetic. So
that was like less than a month ago, or that was about a month ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I'm like, hold up. I don't remember having this conversation in May, but I remember having this at the early June.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the last week in May. Like, but it has essentially, it's not been 2 months. I promise you.
Yeah. So I've just changed my aesthetic. I found a way that I can post more regularly because I'll post a quote and then I can post a photo of something, either my dog or the books or my whatever I'm drinking, and I don't have to say a whole lot because I'm like, I actually want to write. Like, there's this thing, we're on YouTube and it's like, are we author tubers? Are we writers? Sometimes we're putting more work into doing this whole branding and marketing than we are actually doing the thing that we want to do. I want to be writing and drawing. So I'm like, how much time do I really want to put into that part of it? And so some of the tips that Doll gave us let me do it much, much easier. I thought it was going to be harder and it wasn't. It's actually made it simpler. I can post twice a week to my Instagram and it's helping, I think, because I haven't done much of anything to get 200 more subscribers. So, and that's mostly the branding information that we got and a little bit of from marketing and branding. So they kind of went hand in hand. I don't know a lot about marketing. I'm terrible at it. Don't like to, obviously, I don't even want to don't even care about showing my face. So obviously marketing is not my thing, but branding, because branding has a lot to do with aesthetic. I'm like, ooh, that intrigues me. So I was curious and I was like, let me try that. And it was a matter of trying what I can do first.
Right.
And as I gradually learn those other things that are harder. And yeah, the Instagram's doing well.
Yeah, I think changing it so you're able to frame your pictures with your own branding has been very aesthetically. It looks lovely. I mean, like, there's also the super cute puppy, but that's really recent.
Yeah, I've only had him for a little over a week. I love him so much, though. Oh my gosh,
with the little face, yes. Oh my goodness,
I love his face.
His little face, yes. But like in general, like yeah, I love that you've been working on this very simple framing. So you don't have to coordinate necessarily. Like I know I would love to use apps like Panoply or whatever it's called, but or even I think that there's a what is it, the Creator Studio thing that Facebook and Instagram offer. However, I've been having problems getting Facebook to recognize that I own my Instagram account. I've had multiple issues with it. So I haven't been able to plan out my posts yet. So it's been giving me all sorts of issues. But can we take a look at Nia's account? Okay, let's take a look. Yes, and I heard that Roy has been visiting. Well, not visiting. He's home now.
He's home. I am so excited for you, Laura. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Laura gave me puppy fever, and my kids have been hounding me. Like, Mom, get a puppy. Mom, get a puppy. And Laura kept talking about how excited she was about it. And I finally told my kids, I'm like, I really do want a puppy. And my kids were on it. They're like, we got it. Mom, you get a puppy. So I have one, and he's amazing. Yeah. So that frame, that was just the one that I came up with right up. And I am planning on making better frames, more of the. I know, isn't he so cute? Okay. But I do want to do more elaborate frames that still fit within the aesthetic. But that was something I could do quickly, and it had the aesthetic of all of my platforms. So I do need to work on my Ko-fi, but I already said I'm going to work on my Ko-fi in August, and probably I think I'll probably go ahead and keep the Patreon since I've already got it started, and probably work on beefing up the Patreon a little bit as well. So that everything, and then if you want to look, this is what I was doing before, which was fine, but it was just very random, very sporadic, and nothing special.
Yeah, I could see why this works.
Yeah, and then because I was like, I want to be writing, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time blogging via Instagram, if that makes sense. If you've seen some people's Instagrams, they're putting together really cool videos and posts, a series of posts and things like that, which is fine. But it's just something that I know I didn't have time for. So I was like, how can I make that similar concept work for me? And this is the way that I found works for me. And I can still take my random pictures, but now my random pictures are in a frame, and it's all going with my aesthetic. Because since I'm so bad at marketing, this is like the baby steps of marketing for me. Because now wherever you go, if you're looking for the Vixen Fiction, you can find me on all platforms, and you'll know when you get to my channel or my page, because that's what it looks like.
Nia, can I ask you, how did you change your highlights here?
Okay, so I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think when you create a highlight, so take one of your stories and create a highlight. Once you create that highlight, you can say, it'll ask you if you want to edit the highlights frame or something like that. But it says, whatever this is, it'll say, do you want to edit the highlight cover or something like that? And then you can change it to whatever you want. So that's how I did mine. Did you find it like that, Tom?
Yeah, I just held down my finger on a highlight I had and clicked on the edit highlight.
Yep.
And if you look at the top, it just says, edit cover.
Yep.
So you can add in the cover image.
And
even after you've made your highlight.
Exactly. Because I know at first I was like, how does everybody get that? So I watched the YouTube video. Hey, that's like YouTube has been like going to school for me. It's how I'm learning how to I'm learning about Twitch via YouTube videos. Not kidding. But yeah, so then whenever I get something new, like when I started posting, I wanted to do highlights about my pug baby. I took a picture of him, posted it up there, and then I did my little icon thing. And then once I created the highlight, I just pressed on it, and then it said you want to edit. And instead of the highlight being that last picture of him that I posted into my story, the highlight now has its own unique cover, and you can make them all the same. You can make them color coordinate. So yeah.
Well, I guess it's time I pick a color.
Yes.
I just need to just get on it.
I like what you guys have going on here. I personally think that you should do one for summer, fall, winter, spring. And do you see how we're all three blocked off like this? Imagine it's, going the other way. But, then as you scroll up, like the water in the sky kind of blends.
Yes.
So as the water and sky blends, now we have the next frame. And then you have like the trees and everything. And then the water in the sky, as you scroll, will blend into the next set of frames. I totally do this.
We do have 4 shows. And we can, work on coordinating these brandings. It's given me a lot of food for thought about branding. And that it's because at first I felt, no, it's too big of a monster, a bugbear to tackle. But I can see where baby steps, take little tiny bites. That's how you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. And that we can do it. So I feel like you've really inspired me. I hope that, other people feel inspired as well.
Yeah.
And I don't mean inspired like, but I mean like good inspired. Like, yes, I can do this. This is beautiful. This is little things. Yeah. And I love your quotes that you have used on your Instagram. I've really been loving them as I've been seeing them actually. I love them. And I was just like going, oh, but I don't have time to go through all my quotes. But then I remembered that many years ago, I had actually liked a whole heck of a lot of quotes on Goodreads for years. I had actually kind of curated this list. And I was like, I have not revisited that in forever, but I could honestly go dip in that well for at least a little while I kind of figure out, because these were quotes I just loved, and they're obviously all from books. There is a lot of Terry Pratchett in there, but I'm not going to apologize for that.
Don't apologize.
I love Terry. Sir Terry was like a second father to me. So let's see.
And my quotes are mostly from writers, but they're not all from writers. Sometimes they're musicians or artists. And I do have some artist quotes that I'm planning on posting as well. So because mine is more not just for writing, it's more the creator as a whole. So yeah, I think it's kind of neat to find out some things that people said. And I read other people's quotes too. When people post quotes, I'm reading them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know. I'm like, oh, they said that.
I want to know interesting quotes because I don't have time to read everything in the world. I don't. Let me know what quotes you like, because it's things to ponder. I mean, literally right now in my room, the quotes on the wall. There is the one, "Why fit in you when you were born to stand out?" That would be Dr. Seuss, y'all. There's a quote by Albert Einstein. There's a Discworld quote about everyone, the people who applaud your, what is it? The people who, I can't quite see it.
The people who applaud your coronation
will also applaud your beheading. Everyone just loves a show.
And sometimes I'm reading someone else's quote and I'm like, oh, dang it, I want that one. I'm like, I'll have to wait a few months before I can post it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, I love that quote.
and then there is one that is this lovely, behold the field where I grow my F's. It is barren. These were original quotes I put up when I was working at the library. So yeah, you can take that how you want to. Some of y'all know my background. Let's see what's going on in the chat. We're talking about third-party apps. Okay.
Well, Instagram is starting to roll out an integrated scheduling ability, but it's very slow, and they have rollout. They haven't. It's not available to most people yet.
Mm-hmm.
So they're talking about alternates, namely because Hootsuite doesn't work, and a bunch of other ones. And Barrett and Megan both use Buffer.
Okay.
For Facebook, Instagram posts, I believe.
I had tried. You have to get Facebook to acknowledge you own the Instagram account first. So I'm still working on it. But yes, for everyone else, let me know how it goes. Please report back. I mean, like Merritt has, but like anyone else try, let us know, and we will keep working on that as well. Hopefully, things will improve. I'm not ready to spend like 3 weeks of my life with customer service with Facebook yet, but
yeah.
I remember back when Hootsuite was good. That's how old I am. I am a geriatric millennial. So okay. Demographics. How to figure this out. I have many ideas. We have many strategies. So let's get started. So there is the obvious one of whatever you like to write, because that's the approach I like. To me, writing is the difficult part, and that's not necessarily true for people. I've heard people say that writing is not the hard part in their life, and I just think they're wizards and witchcrafts. But okay, so if writing is the hard part. So whatever you're writing, you're already doing your best. This is all you've got. So now you need to figure out how, before you can really brand, I would recommend that you figure out your demographics. And that has to do with what are you writing and who are the readers. And please don't say everyone, because that's going to take time. So let me explain. The keys to happiness is to pick the low-hanging fruit first. I want everyone to have happiness. So therefore, we're going to talk about low-hanging fruit, because actually the key, emotionally resilient people pick low-hanging fruit first. Those little successes spur us on to bigger efforts, which can get us bigger successes. But first, we're going to go with little successes. That's low-hanging fruit. So here we go. Who is the core reader profile of what you are writing? If you are writing contemporary fiction and you are a woman, you are more than likely aiming at women between the ages of 25 and 45. If you are wanting to, or like what you are writing is appealing more like a more even split of men and women, so you can't just say, oh, my stuff actually appeals to just women. But if what you're writing about is more appealing to men, hi, I'm going to be a woman and I'm going to say the sexist things. Make your first name initials. Men don't read women writers. I'm so sorry. Look, it's not how I wanted to make the world. If I were crafting the world, this is not how it would be. I literally was just reading an article from The Guardian about this because the new research. Yeah, well, because I posted it. We have a Telegram group. If you would like to be a part of our reading room group, please let me know and I'll send you a link to our Telegram group. It is free. Unless you would like to pay me, and then I will take your money. So happily. I will buy me at least one Starbucks a month, maybe. So, but I'm going to be the one, as a woman, I'm going to be the one to say the sexist things. If you want to appeal to male readers, you do not need a female name. I'm so sorry. Life's not fair. It sucks. And, we can say whatever, we may want to say in the privacy of our own home about male readers who don't want to initially read female writers, and you please feel free to curse in your own. But I'm just trying to be practical here. And I know this is true from when I was a librarian, and I don't think it's just, Mississippi readers. Because I've talked to many readers all over the planet, males do not read female writers. That's where women make the beginnings of their names initials instead. It's just the way of the world. So,
I mean, never forget that classic saying about you can be right or you can have it your way.
Which one do you want?
Yep.
You know, do you want to be successful, or do you want to be successful and have lots of readers and sell lots of stories? Or do you want to do it on your own terms? Because guess what? If you do it on your own terms, you might be alone for a long time. So maybe financially, you don't need to sell a lot of stories, in which case I applaud you. I would love to be in that situation. I am not there. I need to sell stories. I need to pay the rent. That electricity bill comes every month, just like clockwork. So I've got to not be caught up in the injustice of the world. I need to sell stories.
Yeah.
Also, you know, can we say straight? Because it makes
Okay.
No. I mean, like, it's so when I say men don't read female writers, that's not entirely accurate, obviously. We know plenty of men who read female writers. But statistically, it's only 20% of male readers will read a female writer that they are not familiar with. You know, so essentially a cold book. That they're not familiar with this writer's style, they're not familiar with how this writer tells stories or anything, that they'll pick up and that they don't care about gender. 20% out of 100% of available male readers. Like when you're looking at that, it's like there's 80% of the readers you're going to lose of an entire gender. I mean, and I agree there are multiple genders, but I'm just saying there's a lot of males. There's just a lot of self-identifying males in this world. So I want you to be successful, and then later you can educate them. I mean, Lisa Scottolini has written entire essays about trying to, like, she actually was once in, and this, I'm just a quick story. She was once in an airport at a bookstore or one of those newsstand type stores. She sees this guy pick up her book, read the inside cover, does the thing, and then looks and then goes to look at the author and puts it down. And she literally chased him out of the newsstand going, "Excuse me, sir, excuse me, why did you put down the book?" And he's like, "Oh, I saw it was a woman and I didn't think I'd like it." And she said, "If I got you the book, would you read it? Would you try to read it? You've spent nothing. I'll buy you the book." And he was like, "I mean, I don't know." She's like, "Please, I'll buy it for you right now. Please come back with me to the newsstand. I will buy you the book. And if you don't like it, you've lost literally nothing. You just read it on your plane trip." And he was like, okay, I will. She bought him the book, paid hardback prices because it's Lisa Scottolini. She's a mystery writer. She paid whatever it was. She said it was like 26 damn bucks. Paid for it, handed it to him, and she said, "That's me. I wrote this book. If you don't like it, you let me know. Here is my card, has my email address. You let me know." He's like, "Okay, I will," because he was so sure he wasn't going to like it. He emails her back 3 days later and says, "I couldn't put this down. You've wrecked my life, but thank you so much. Thank you for buying me this book. I've now bought 6 copies for my friends to help make it up to you for paying full price for this book that you gave me. And if I get to see you, will you ever sign this for me and forgive me?" And she was like, "I will absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you liked it." But she's like, "This is how hard I had to work." And this is Lisa Scottolini, who has been a best-selling author at the time for at least 15 years at that point. And she still couldn't get men to pick up her book and take it. He loved it. He couldn't put it down for 3 days. So that's what I'm saying. Like, look, I know it's not fair and it's awful and it's terrible. And I absolutely agree. And the only thing I say is let's raise our sons better. But in the meantime, if you want to be a successful writer among male readers and you have a feminine sounding name, no matter your gender or non-gender, initials are your best friend. Or change your name. You could change your name. You could do a masculinized version of your name. I have known a couple men who have actually done that because, yes, there are men whose real first name is Marion. It used to be a man's name, y'all. So did Hillary.
And Ashley.
Meredith, yeah.
Madison. These are all male names. But like they were in this transition point, and because it was becoming a female name, they actually either changed their name or like to like a masculinized version, or they just did initials. or they felt their name was, again, they were trying to appeal to a more middle class or upper middle class readership, like, with rich stories about rich people doing rich things, fleets of jets, that type. And they felt that their name was too homegrown. I mean, there are people whose actual given name in Louisiana is Booger. I've met them. Their birth certificate actually is Booger. Booger Anderson. I'm not going to say the last name. But anyway. So if you have a name that you don't feel reflects the readers you want to appeal to, I really suggest adjust your name. It's okay. I promise you, your mother will still love you. And I promise you, once she sees the checks you get in, she will be very happy that you did that.
Yeah, never forget the story of Divine, of John Waters fame, whose father did not speak to him for 15 years, I think, 20, because of, dressing in drag and acting as a woman and everything.
I think he didn't speak to him at all for 6 years, but there was mostly didn't. It was the mother had to bridge this for a while. And it was 12, 15 years before. And then his mother told her husband, his father, about how much Divine was making.
No, they had to. She got them together, and because he's finally just, I have to talk to you, and he's like, why do you dress like this? He was tired of his son going out there looking like a woman, and Divine, according to Divine, literally went to the car, got out the checkbook, and showed him what do you call it? Where you keep track of all your checks.
Oh, yeah. The register?
The register. Showed him the register for his account, and his father went, well, if I'd known that, I would have been dressed in women's clothes 40 years ago.
Yeah, he did say that.
I mean, really, success is the best,
The bridge. It's a bridge. Let us say it's a bridge to those who do not necessarily idealistically agree with us. Barrett, I had been thinking about, so here's the thing. You know how they go, not all men? Okay, not all gay men read female writers. I've certainly down here had that issue, and in Atlanta as well. Look, it must be great being at the top is all I have to say about men who don't want to read female writers.
Yeah, and I think that probably is part of the reason why they don't really seem to care if they write in something problematic, because they're like, my demographic is going to read it anyway. The rest of y'all.
Right. Yeah, you can write about women's private genital pockets all you want. It's only for male readers because women aren't going to read that, right? Of course. Anyway. So I'm just saying, you need to figure out who your readers are. So for instance, for me, again, I will talk about my demographics. My hardcore readers, these are the loyal ones who follow me from hither and yon, are women between the ages of 15 and 25, and men between the ages of early 40s, let's say somewhere between 42 and 45 through 58. These are the people who follow me everywhere. I have been gaining more of the middle women group as target readers over the years, but back in the day, that was who my loyal demographics were. And so as I said, I am saying oh yeah, men don't read women. However, I am the exception. Mostly because I was writing about sex. So yes, men were happy to read a woman writer about that. I was writing humorous stuff about sex. But I have still in my 30s, I hit plenty of male readers who didn't necessarily read women. So in the regional magazine I used to write for, they would put my name in, they would honest to God, it was they were hiding my name. Remember, we used to have to where did they actually credit who wrote this article? Because they would hide it and they would put it in very thin fonts so that people would read it first and then try to figure out who it was, rather than, oh, a woman wrote this, never mind, skipping on in the magazine. And they mostly only did that with mine. They did not do that with any of the other writers. They certainly didn't do it with any of the male writers. I could always find their name easily in the articles. And I asked about it, and that's what the publisher, a man, told the chief editor, a woman, to do. And I was like, why? She was like, because he loves your articles and he wants everyone to read them and then worry about gender later. I wasn't mad about it. I'm like, as long as you actually put it in there somewhere, so like I can. There's this thing, a portfolio, when you're a writer, particularly when you're published in periodicals of any kind. You try to always keep a copy so you can put it in your portfolio book to show later, because that used to be how you impress other editors to get hired. Now it's meaningless. But anyway, at the time, I thought it was still important. So I was like, as long as you put my name somewhere in the article so people know. And they were like, okay, cool. So often they would not give me a byline. They would just give me an about at the bottom. So after you've read the whole article, had to flip to like page 45 to finish the article, then there would be who it was.
Now, Glory, do you think that, is this something that's changing? Is it getting better, or is it something that's pretty static and it's, or changing so marginally that it's not going to benefit us?
It depends on the age group that's being targeted. So Gen Z, this is getting better. It's not as much of an issue. But everyone millennial and up, it's the way it's always been. These groups are still defined by these rigid binary views. For all that white men talk about, white men are just the default. Everyone can see themselves in this character. They cannot see themselves in any other character.
So here's actually where I see it as a librarian. This is actually, because I was trying to figure out where is this coming from. This is I feel like this is odd. I actually think this is a weird thing. Like so many men have benefited from female inventors and female business owners. And I mean, like, God bless the dishwasher. Anyways, and the lady who invented the dishwasher and the washing machine. God bless them all. So, like, I think it's so strange. God bless the people who invented the windshield wipers. Okay. Anyway. Or at least women were involved in it. Yeah, right? Because Lisa Catalini's mother actually invented windshield wipers. Because she talks about it. Anyway, the patent ran out. So, here's the deal. I noticed it among elementary school boys at the library. So, boys and girls, and all children. Like, again, I'm not trying to exclude non-binary and non-gender conforming people. I'm just saying, like, little children, elementary school children, notice who writes the books they love. And I would notice when I would try to recommend books to kids, because they would be like, I've run out of all of this in my series. What else do you have like this? This is what they would say to me. So I'd go in the back room with them to the kids' room. I'm like, okay. And what I noticed is in little boys who had only ever read male writers, they already had this idea of, but that's not the same kind of writer I already like. I don't know if I will like this. And quite honestly, I had sometimes a challenge breaking this gender stereotype with little boys and little girls, just in fairness, in little girls too. Because, like, if it was a particular thing, like, there was, like, one little boy who loved to read about sailing. Any story with a boat in it, he was there. Even toy sailboats, which is how I got him to read a couple books. But the ones we had in stock, the ones I could find even for our library to get inexpensively, were primarily written by men. It was actually kind of hard sometimes because, again, they would obscure the gender of some writers, so it was hard to even figure out past writers. Like Wikipedia didn't even necessarily know gender for some of these older books. And so I think that's where the stereotype starts in little kids' minds. And as you know, you have to get them when they're young. So, however, for a long time, the majority of children's book, like chapter books, when I talk about children's book, I'm not talking about picture books, I mean chapter books, where they, and in series, because children love series so much, were written by men or had male sounding names or did just the initials, and they never actually told you the gender. And so the kids would assume that, if it mentions hiking and sailing and fighting, then it must be a boy, right? That would be their presumption about the author section. Even when I looked it up, She sails, and it's a woman, and she sails with her 3 cats. And and she does fence. She actually does fence, but the publisher had skipped all that, or maybe the writer had, I don't know. So it gets to them when they're young, and they're thinking, oh, I only like this gender writer. Well, girls, there used to be, up until, the last 20 years, there weren't that many female chapter book writers, let alone that were acknowledging their gender. And so little girls couldn't get into that sort of thinking of, oh, I like one gender only. However, I have noticed in younger people, like females in their early 20s and mid 20s going, I don't know, I normally don't like male writers. I started hearing that at the library. So I think it just has to do with, we really do need diversity in children's book middle grade, because that's where chapter book is upper elementary, and then middle grade books and on. We really need a diversity, not just male and female, obviously, but also non-binary and non-gender conforming. And we need those writers to acknowledge that in their about. We need publishers to publish a diversity of writers so that children don't get stuck in these ideas about somehow the gender of the writer matters. I do not think it matters, personally. I don't think it plays anything to do with the quality of the story. I've never found that to be a way that I could profile writers at all. And believe me, if I could, I would profile writers of this is easier for me to find writers I like. It's so hard for me to find writers that I really enjoy their stuff, consistently. And so that is where I think it's coming from. So what I would recommend is get them while they're young. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's going on in chat now that I finished my little oration?
Well, Barrett has some questions for you.
Okay. So should I read them during the break, and we can do the thing?
Yeah, I think we'll come back.
I've got chickens lined up for us to watch for the break. I'm feeling kind of chickeny today.
Nice.
They're so pretty. Okay. So we are going to go for a 10-minute break. I hope to see everybody back. Remember, save your work. Hydrate or dehydrate. Maybe grab a snack. Maybe stretch the legs. Do not drink from the water sources that Tom has put in the interstitial video. Don't drink from swimming pools and creeks, okay? At least not without a specialty filter. And we will see y'all back here in about 10 minutes, where we will tackle Barrett's fantastic stories or questions. All right. Maybe beep beep. Maybe beep beep. Maybe beep 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 beep. Everybody back. Come back, my darlings. Come back.
Back.
This is all lovely. How did we all do? Did we do things?
Yes. I got something warm because I'm freezing. I was so cold. I kept trying to rub my arms and I'm like, oh, that looks weird on the screen. I'm fine, guys. Really.
I'm just freezing to death. It's okay. It's July and I'm freezing. No, I understand.
July. I'm sorry. I had to go get something.
You don't need to apologize for it. I hope you are warm. I'm like, put a hat on, darling. I wish I could send you some gloves.
Oh my gosh. And then I got some words, so yay.
Yay, that's awesome. Tom's still muted. I've unmuted him. Tom was working on, we're having a chicken and dressing tonight. We're trying an experiment in the pressure cooker to make it. It's like semi-homemade. We made chicken soup last night in the pressure cooker, just out of a rotisserie chicken, or part of a chicken. And we're using the broth and a little bit of the soup solids that are left from that to, moisten the cornbread dressing. We got commercial cornbread dressing. Mm-hmm. That and of course more chicken. So it was good stuff. So there's your recipe, y'all. You can make this too, I promise you.
And an onion.
And please remember, moist dressing is our friend. Hydrate your dressing. If you can eat it like just one little piece of dressing and it doesn't fall, no. We need to hydrate the dressing. I'm just saying, I've met people who staunchly disagree with me and they're like, no, soap stuffing or go home. And I'm like, oh, how their tummies must hurt a lot. And then I find out they do. So anyway.
Glory.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm extra sassy today. I love y'all though.
She's just telling all how you're cooking wrong.
I'm just saying everyone in the South knows about cooking. I'm not dropping new things for Southerners. Anyway.
Yeah, we always do the dressing.
Hi to Mama. Yeah, it's like, why is the dressing so dry? Do their babies eat? Hey, Chandra. Okay. And hello, Heather. Hello, sweetie.
Yeah, it's called I'm tired.
Yes.
We still need to eat. What's the lowest effort?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do love a pressure cooker, y'all. An instant, one of those like electric ones. Highly recommend something like an Instant Pot or a Bella. It is wonderful if you have ADD, ADHD, or chronic illness. It is a wonderful thing to have because you can have dinner on the table in literal minutes and you don't have to be there to watch it while it's doing its thing. Unlike a stovetop pressure cooker. So, anywho.
Yeah, I finally got, because I got the Ninja air fryer. It has a pressure cooker. I've always been terrified of pressure cooking on the stove. I saw a video of someone with the pot stuck in the roof. I'm like, oh no, that's not for me. So
right, it's scary. So it's so lovely having the electric ones that have all these safety mechanisms. And, anything goes wrong, it already loses electricity. It's already going to start immediately cooling down. So I absolutely love it. Yes, you can make the best bone broth in an electric pressure cooker, and it tastes brighter. It really does taste fresher than in a slow cooker. So yes. As I said, we're doing semi-homemade. Chandra,
are you joking?
She probably is not.
No. I know the type. There's a lot in the South who really do like stovetop. Like they got the right mix, spice mix. People live on them.
I get it. Look.
I mean, okay, if I have to have dressing and there isn't any and my mom isn't there to make it,
right?
I understand stovetop, but I don't prefer it to real dressing. Like,
I do prefer to make our own cornbread and like put the dressing spice, herbs in there like the poultry seasoning, and I do like a little bit of extra sage, not a ton. I have learned to stop turning it green because I have used too much before. And if you don't like onion, like because of the shape, the like people don't like things interrupting their food, and I get that. Since we are very much neurodivergent friendly here. I got a great tip about this the other day. Use onion powder instead. So you'll get a little bit of that lovely onion flavor without having that people who don't like the little bits of onion and celery in their food. And I get that it can be a textural thing. And children often don't like that because, again, it's a textural problem. So you can put a little bit of crushed celery seed and onion powder in your dressing at any point, including whether you're baking the cornbread yourself or you're using a commercial mix. You can substitute that, and people do not tend to notice. And also don't overdo the spices, never necessarily, but it works.
Chandra got opinions.
I know, like, Nia.
I'm leaving. Like, my mom will literally make both.
Yeah.
For us. And we fight, like when she does like the turkey, we fight over which one's going to get done in the turkey, because when it's cooked in the turkey, oh my gosh, it's so good. But
I've heard like people don't like the boiled egg in the cornbread dressing, and I get that because again, that textural thing.
But we don't. My mom's allergic to eggs, so I don't think she does that.
She probably doesn't put the beaten egg in there either. She's allergic.
No.
Because like,
so that's not an issue for us. Her dressing is like,
I'll put beaten egg in, but that's to like help it with leavening. But yeah, like I haven't known anyone in my personal life who's allergic to egg, or I would omit it. You can use chicken gravy as a substitute for egg as a leavener and binder in your dressing because of that cornstarch or flour. By Sarah. And you can, if you are doing a vegetarian version, you can just use vegetable stock with a little cornstarch in it and put that to moisten your dressing, and it will act as a binder for instead of egg. So if you need to omit egg for whatever the reason, maybe you're just out. Cornstarch and broth.
Yes, Mama.
Yes.
The difference is it's only stuffing if you put it in an animal cook. Otherwise, it's dressing.
Right. In the South, we're very clear about dressing is the thing you bake in the oven on the side of the meat, or
the stuffing
in its own pan
that goes inside the bird.
Right.
It's so yummy.
So, yes, Nia Barrett is available for all your taste testing needs. I agree. Barrett, I hope you're doing well. If you're feeling up for it, we'd love to have you at the after party after the show.
Yeah.
We totally want to hear your updates and also just your beautiful face. So, while we're talking about Barrett's got questions. For my self-published friends, do you do a formal marketing plan for each book series? Okay.
Oh, this would be a perfect time for Sarah to be on too.
Yes.
She did such a good job with her latest release. So I obviously, like, I've been on AuthorTube almost a year now, and I feel like if you love me, you love me for who I am, and if you don't, you're definitely not going to like what I have to say. I've now known enough writers and authors to know not everyone knows what a marketing plan is, and I feel like a simple Google search could teach you that, but yet there are so many people who seem to have absolutely no clue. And again, I'm not trying to come for anybody on this. The shade I have has to do with dressing. It doesn't have to do with people and how they're running their small businesses. Okay. And again, I will make you stovetop dressing stovetop stuffing according to the box. And you will get your box, and I will give you the leftovers to take home. And I'm not judging for that, because I get, like, everybody eats nostalgically, and it's cool. Mm-hmm. And I love it as long as you don't make, like, an ugly fuss about it, about how we're eating it. So I think
You do not have to have a formal marketing plan to launch a book or book series. That is not required. Obviously, you can just make it publicly available and then let the gods do as they will. Now, a marketing plan of any kind can be helpful. But that leads to the next question. What sort of XY marketing experiments work best for self-published authors? Okay. So with a marketing plan, and technically, my darling, I know this really belongs more on July 26th episode, Marketing and Promotion Part 2. But here we are. So I'm going to go over it right quick. And obviously my idea of quick is slow for a Southerner. So here it goes. You need to figure out what your goals are. Do you just want readers to know this book exists? Or do you simply want readers who are ready to buy your book? Those are technically two different things, even though instinctively they may feel like the same thing. You need word of mouth, period. A lot of readers are going to ask if anybody's heard of a book before they even start considering buying a book or asking the library to buy it. So word of mouth does tend to come before trying to push sales and stuff, to push actual sales. So word of mouth is just literally ads and other ways to get in touch with potential readers to know this book exists. You would ideally want to do this actually before you release the book, but where they could somehow mark it. Like if you have the ability on Goodreads to mark a book will be released within the next 2 months, that is a great thing to have. If you are doing a what do they call it? Like a pre-release sales on Amazon where you pre-purchase the book. But I know that is apparently a double-edged sword on Amazon. I have heard some horror stories about this. So you may want to understand, like, how do we say? Adjust your expectations since you're a small business owner, that you cannot be like these big rollout publishers. So once the book is released, you want to push word of mouth for at least 2 to 4 months before you're really trying to get sales. And that's where you would ideally advertise wherever your readers are. Your readers may be on Goodreads, on Amazon, on Instagram, Facebook. I don't know. Like at a certain point, I have known people to actually mail out nice glossy letters with little posters to libraries all over the country, like mail outs or postcards saying this book is coming out and when the release date is. I have known, and that has actually worked, because if the postcard not only makes the book look nice, but it tells the librarian something about the book that they think would appeal to their readers, they're going to put it on the desk of the person who purchases books. You can also do advertising in, what is that one that Books A Million puts out, that little newspaper magazine type, the periodical every month. We would get it. I have to look it up. But the library one, and it's a periodical that comes out every month. It's free for readers. There's a way to get in that, honestly. But if you really want to be a successful writer, you would figure out a way to get into BARD. BARD is the Library of Congress's service for the blind and physically handicapped. And that has a huge readership. Like we're talking literally millions of people who can get this access to your book as an audiobook for free. Ideally, that is how you know you've made it. If you can get to them, the amount of press or word of mouth you will get from readers will be much larger, because these are people who are already having a tough time finding books. So if they find yours, they're going to be very happy that they found it, ideally. We're assuming you have a good product. We're already going to assume that, because I'm going to assume that. I'm going to assume that you're actually trying to hone your craft, that you have a good product, or you will have a good product by the time you're ready to go to market. So the XY marketing experiment. So this is how it works. Your word of mouth is usually 2 to 4 months, or let's say a quarter. 3 months is, a quarter. And that's often how marketing plans are written. Per quarter, we're going to do this, this, and this. And you want to measured. I think Barrett's got another question about this. How do authors build their purchase funnels out, and how can they track which campaigns are driving sales to those funnels? So that's the actual other part of marketing experiments, is when you want to drive sales or word of mouth. Okay, so here's how it goes. How will you know if word of mouth works? Will it be you look on Goodreads to see how many people have want to read for your book? Will it be you feel like if you set up a hashtag, somebody's using that hashtag at least once a day, if not multiple times a day? How will you know? You need to have metrics. The one way you can know is you can literally put out surveys and offer people an incentive to fill out your survey, such as if you fill out the survey about how you heard about the survey and about the book, you can have a free short story or something that's related to the book.
Or especially a little afterwards scene. You fill this out and you can get essentially here's what happened, a little afterward piece for the story they just read.
Yeah.
So here's the thing I'm going to say about other marketing campaigns I've heard about. Do not ever pay your readers to read your book. I'm not talking about beta readers and alpha readers. I'm not talking about editors. Please pay your editors, y'all. I saw some horror stories over the weekend. Anyway, please pay your editors and not expect them. Oh, don't you want to be the first one to read Twilight? Okay, whatever. But do not ever pay your readers in money. Yes, like an epilogue. I would actually put it at the end of I would love to hear what you think. There's a short survey and you'll get a bonus story.
And what Gloria's bringing up about the money, there is behavioral economics behind this.
Right, because you want to transact on social value, not on financial value. So never pay them, not even in gift cards, not even toward saying, oh, it'll be toward my shop. Here is how you do it. Offer them free stuff. People love free stuff. And you're like, Gloria, I don't have much money. I can't offer them much. Bub, I promise you could print them some bookmarks off of Vistaprint. And you mail it to them in an envelope. And they will treasure that bookmark forever. And they will love it. And it will be a book-branded bookmark, not a random bookmark. Specific to that book, they will love it. Any swag associated with that book or book series, they will love and treasure always. They can then use it to prompt conversations with other people about this book or book series they love. You pay them in swag, never pay them in money or gift cards, because you've changed the transaction from a social value to a financial value. And people have very different judgments about financial value than about social value.
Yes.
So Eva says, I ordered Sarah Sutton's newest release and some others, but as a new release, it's my first purchase from her, and it came with so many cute things. Yeah, because Sarah's really good at this. Mm-hmm. One is a card that asks for a review. I've got some bookmarks, stickers, a guitar pick, and character art. I'm a sucker for things I don't know what to do with, y'all. I know, I love magnets. I'm a big fan of magnets. Yep. Stickers. Oh, yeah, baby. Stickers. Oh, yeah. I didn't know we were going to talk about this, or I actually would have brought up. I have an entire handwritten page of items of free things I could make to go with books as they come out, including homemade lip balm inspired by the book. Candles that I can make, because again, I love that immersive experience of reading and having candles and lip balm and other scents and things.
And recipes for their favorite foods.
Right. And so recipe postcards for like simple, easy to make food, including just like drinks and things, not like alcoholic necessarily, but like our milkshakes and stuff that we tie in with the book. There's a lot of really wonderful things that you can honestly have printed by Vistaprint or the like and mail to people. I know it means you're going to have to go to the post office. But don't you want that sales? Doesn't it make you feel good when you sell a book or sell a story? I know it makes me feel good. Honestly, I'll admit it. I feel validated. anytime I make a sale, I feel a little bit validated. Like, yes, this thing I'm doing, people actually want. I mean, they may not, it turns out, but you never know. I mean, nobody's actually told me that yet. Knock on wood. But what was Eva's that I missed?
She had an unboxing of the character art with Shutterfly.
Oh, that's cool.
Prints. And then...
Yes. You can have these things printed out, and then you give them away either as an incentive to buy from you or as an incentive to fill out surveys of like, how did you hear about the book? Or, you know, with questions of like, what prompted you to purchase this book? And so on. And you give them free things. People love swag. They absolutely
and then it also and the other part is, if you give them swag, these are preferably stuff they can keep around them in their daily life. Because if they like the book, every time they see any item associated with the book, it reminds them about the book. And it's more likely to stay in their mind, and they will then talk with other people about it, because that's how you really get the better reviews and the better targeted purchases, and readers who actually want to read your story.
You would not believe how good free pens worked at the video store.
Yeah.
Like, a pen has nothing to do with video rental, y'all. Nothing.
I love collecting pens, so yeah.
But like,
pens is one of the things I'm doing.
We never got crappy pens. We never paid for crappy pens. It was always, I will need a free sample of your pen before I get the printed pens. And then, like, so they had to be good pens right there. And I just want y'all to know, remember, if you get blue ink, the military cannot use it.
No.
Because it has to be black ink or go home. So if you want the military to use it, you need to tell the pen company it's black ink only and don't mix it up. So because you would be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be surprised how many military members read. They are voracious readers.
Oh, God.
Honest to God, if you can get your book on a military base, you are about to get 10 stark raving fans just from one book you left in a laundry room at a military base, or you got someone to agree to leave your book at like the laundromat on the base. Right there. Because that book's going to go through at least 10 hands, and they're going to then talk with each other. They're going to put up a little thumbtack note in the laundromat. Have you read this book? I would love to talk about it. No, you will get that. It's so cute. I love military readers. They're the best. But again, and they love pens, they have to be black ink. So there's just a fun tip for you, just in case. I did not know this initially. So I found this out.
We have seen it proven repeatedly.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So your marketing plan, I honestly would suggest that you figure out how to find people who want to read your book. And once they show you just the most minimal investment in your book, how can you figure out how to send them swag? Even a postcard. You actually just literally put one of those postcard stamps on and you mail it through the postal system to them. They will still appreciate it and use it as a bookmark. Or stick it up on the wall. They'll message you, hey, the post office ruined my postcard and like tore it through the machine. I only got half of the postcard back. Can I get another one? And then you mail them 3 and they're like, I'm your biggest fan now. And you're like, it's 3 postcards. It's 3 postcards. And you've now earned a biggest fan person. And when people say that, believe them. They really are. They really are committed to you. So every marketing plan, in my personal opinion, particularly for writers, should be about how can I give things away to people who like to read? But not the book. Not how to give the book away.
Right.
Not how to give money away. How to give free things away to people who like to read. And, you can offer a free bookmark if you sign up for my newsletter. I will mail you a bookmark for my upcoming book or one of my past books, or I don't know. I will stick my hand in the box of bookmarks and you will get a random bookmark mailed to you. And people will do it because they just wanted a free bookmark. And also now they're like, I got the bookmark and I meant to unsubscribe from the newsletter, but I like the newsletter now too, because it's a social transaction, y'all. So there's the marketing plan is How do you get exposure for the concept of your book being released? And then how do you get them to fill out reviews? Because other readers need reviews to get them over that hump of, but I don't know if I actually want to commit to like 8 or 9 hours of my life with this person. Because that's what a book is, isn't it? They're making a commitment to walk inside your brain for several hours. For the better part of a working day, if you will. And they can be reluctant for obvious reasons because other writers have burned them. It's a relationship like anything.
Yeah.
So,
as much as we talk about Charles Stross stories, you don't know how much we have like looked up Charles Stross just to see if like
make sure, like, is this person okay? Are they a TERF or transphobe? Or, because I don't want to spend time in those kind of people's brains. I don't want their like little weird thoughts to get into my head that will then like lead me to some bumps in the road for me that I have to then smooth out. I don't want that. That's why I care about a writer's personal life far more than even actors. I care less. I mean, like, I don't like it when they say hateful things, period. Like, that's gross. But like, I'm not that actor is not as much in my head as a writer will be when I'm reading their stuff. And even if I don't like what's in their head, if I'm already hooked into that series, I'm going to have to see it out. And that's, again, why I have to be careful. So it's just like a relationship like any other kind, where you need to know what you're getting into before you let them move into your home or your brain. So you have, with your quarterly campaigns, how you measure it is you're looking for word of mouth. You want to see how much your books or your titles are being discussed. Well, at a certain point, you're going to want to know sales. You can measure that by, I would honestly not recommend necessarily unless you're just desperate for sales. I get when we're desperate to pay the rent. I get it. But if you're trying to do this scientifically, you wouldn't want to roll out more than one new experiment in marketing per quarter, because you want to be able to see if you're going to get a reaction. And it's going to take people some time. I want you to remember, people need a minimum of 21 impressions before they ever think about that product as something that they could see in their life. They need 21 individual impressions. So they need to see your ad 21 times, or they need somebody to mention it. They need, to, again, like, let's say they had a pin that they got from you for a previous book, and they stuck their pin on a messenger bag. So anytime they see that messenger bag, that's an impression. That's the impressions you need. Is you're trying to build up impressions, and that's what things like swag do for you. So if you're like, look, I've got a new book coming out, and if you are interested, here's the teaser trailer thing or whatever I've made. You're trying to do word of mouth, and you're like, and if you fill out this short survey about the kind of books you like, I'll mail you a bookmark for this upcoming book. It does not technically have to be a survey about information you actually care about. It can be just a ploy to get them to take your bookmark. People prefer to feel like they earn free things than it's just given, because they don't value what's given for free. I know humans are not really healthy minded, and I mean that in like a mental health sort of way. Like, yeah, like as a species, we haven't quite figured out unconditional love yet, but okay. So they have to feel like they've earned it. So they fill out a short survey about crap you don't care about. You could literally have like, what is your favorite food? What is your favorite pet? Have you ever read anything I've written before? What is your address to mail your bookmark to? You could literally have a survey like that, because it's just a ploy to mail them a bookmark.
And that brings us back to branding, which brings us back to demographics, which is, for those impressions to be of use, it needs to be something that is appealing to your kind of reader. A mother in her late 20s, 30s, and early 40s, not necessarily interested in things that appeal to, tweens. So you do need to make sure that your branding matches your demographic, And so that's why demographic is actually very important to understand and know. And like for our genre readers, genres have very particular age ranges and demographics behind them. Gloria and I were talking about this last night about sci-fi skews heavily male.
Yeah.
It just does. It especially skews older male. In its counterpart, though, if you want to reach that same age range, but in women and of a similar mindset, that's paranormal. So it helps to know what is your group. So that's why also go look at the authors, the big authors in your genre. Look at what their covers are looking like and who they're marketing to. That'll tell you a lot about your demographic. Use other people's research. You don't have to reinvent this wheel. What was it? Pew Research is good about this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you literally Google Pew Research and then the demographics you're looking for, women age 15 to 25 or young women, for instance, and you get you'll get Google hits that will give you the Pew Charitable Trust, the Pew Research arm. A lot of this information is publicly available. Pew makes this available. Yeah, they usually give it 1 to 3 year period where you have to wait, so their fresh stuff. No, you have to pay for that. But I'm just saying for the free stuff, hey, Amanda, you don't have to, you can just use it. You don't have to pay for. And it'll give you a lot of information for free about these kind of demographics you're looking for. And yes, you can put in genre. You can put in science fiction readers.
Yeah. Honestly, it's one of the reasons why the first work that I'm putting out is my sci-fi novella. And I was going to put it out for free. It was going to be my way of just getting some work out there to get eyes on it and kind of get feedback. And then Vella happened, and I thought, well, let me try and do it on there versus putting it out on Wattpad, even though it is original work. Because I know my demographic, I don't know if there are a lot of people like me that exist. This is a sci-fi, but it's also a little bit of a retelling. And my hope is that there are more women and young women who are like myself, who actually like reading sci-fi, who will enjoy it. And I have no delusions that a guy is going to pick up my comic even the novella part of the comic and like it, because it does feature a lot of girls, young women. And it is not just the science, it is also the drama, but it's not the drama centered around the guy with, the man pains and all the things that a lot of guys like to read about. They just do, and it's fine because I read it too. Obviously, I'm reading in sci-fi. I understand what I'm getting into most of the time. I find that there are some writers who do it really well. Brandon Sanderson, who writes in sci-fi, and he's written two of my favorites that he's written. They're young women in these sci-fi stories, and I guess guys like it because it's written by a guy. I don't know, but it works. I enjoy it. I'm a woman. I enjoy it. So it's not that men won't read stories about girls or women. They will. I think that they just prefer to have that story told from a man's perspective, I guess. But I have no delusions. I am going to publish it with initials versus my name. I don't know if that will help. But of course, once they look me up, they can come right on YouTube and see, obviously not a guy.
But you just need to get past that first impression. You don't need to here, I have a whole masculine identity.
Because here's the thing. We've done, they've done countless bits of research on psychology, on humans. And the truth is, a lot of our thoughts about people we form within the first 5 seconds. I mean, really, it's actually the first half second. So if you can just have that impression be free of outside influence for a couple seconds when they're literally picking up your book, the first time finding out even you exist, that is what actually helps.
Yeah, you just have to get past that first part. Also, like for your kind of book, because I mean, like this is just my opinion, and again, take it or leave it. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. It's fine because I'm not the one selling the book. I don't care. But I mean, other than I want you to succeed. But young women, teens and up through mid-20s are not really marketed for sci-fi. So they are not used to reading sci-fi. So honestly, I would go light on the sci-fi advertising for it and really be more like, it's little women in space versus it's young women in space on space adventures. It's so great. There's pew pew guns.
Yeah.
Like I would like really be, I would skewing it more toward it's about female relationships and it's about young women navigating a world that's war torn or something like, to that effect, rather than, pushing the space part, because right now, at least still, young women are not, sci-fi is not marketed toward young women. And so since your initial readers are more than likely the ones who really enjoy it and are going to write the reviews that you want are going to be young women, I would skew it more toward advertising and marketing that works for young women. Literally, and that was partly what we wanted to talk about as well, about like figure out those demographics. If you're marketing toward women between the ages of 15 and 25, look at the kind of products they're consuming and look at the advertising that those products generate. So the product, like the hair care products that they're currently using, what is the stuff that's advertising to very young women? And what does that look like? What colors are they using? Are they framing them? How does print advertising on Instagram look when it's being marketed toward high school and college age women? That tells you what appeals to them, because I guarantee you all of these big brands, they have done their research. But it's totally fine in America to copy advertising styles because you can't copyright that. You can't copyright a color. No matter how many times Pantone and Netflix try. You cannot copyright a color. Oh, thank goodness. And so, like, what are the products? Like, I was going to say Garnier, and I'm like, Gloria, you are so old. Garnier is now for older 20-something and early 30-something women. That is how much I'm aging. But there are plenty of hair and skincare products being advertised and marketed directly to high school and college age women. I would look at that. I would look at on Instagram, how does the print advertising look, since you're not probably going to run video advertising hardly at all. Print advertising is so much cheaper and also more versatile because it's easier to share. So that's what I would recommend, is like look at what their advertising already looks like. See that. Now, if on the other hand, like say somebody is trying to write a book that is a military style espionage story, whether it's in the future or the past, it doesn't matter. I would then look at what is being marketed toward men. So for instance, and again, I hate using stereotypes, but advertising is like made on stereotypes. So here we go.
Because you're trying to hit the broad side of a barn.
Yes. So tools, trucks, SUVs that are marketed toward men, what does the advertising look like for them? That tells you the kind of visuals they're already used to and that appeal to them. I found that to actually be very successful when I was trying to do what was at the video store? Was we had plenty of women coming in at a certain point. We did not have enough men. The problem was the men were the ones for date night who were making a decision about which video store they went to. And so I was trying to lure them away from Blockbuster. This is so long ago. And so we put out flyers. We put out flyers all over the university because a lot of young people see that. And we needed them to drive. But we'd also put flyers at all the gas stations all the way down to the video store. We would put them everywhere. So what was it? Snap-on tools. That was it. I saw some print advertising from Snap-on in a magazine. And I was like, It's a black background with a red frame, like just a simple line, and then the print in the middle. So it's kind of black print heavy because of the black background. I literally I had a laser printer. I had a color laser printer, and we made all of these variations on the Snap-on tool ads to appeal to men. And we did not change any of the copy, okay? Any of the print. It was still videos and more. And this is the address and the phone number. Movies for all ages, kids to adult. Yes, that was the part I had crafted. Because I was trying to very subtly, hey, we got adult stuff. And, that was, and then I think we had the 5 for 5 and new movie, something. It did not matter. I just needed it to look like Snap-on tools. I put it up. I literally had guys coming in within 3 days going, when I first started reading your ad, I thought it was like Snap-on Tools was having a sale. And then I found out a bunch of video stores. So here I am. And I'm like, great. Because so you had to pay $5 to get a membership, but then you got $5 in credit. We found that if people didn't have to pay anything to set up a membership, they never returned their movies. So that was why we charged them. It was for the mental concept of it rather than, well, yes, this is behavioral analytics. That's what it's called in economics. Anyway, so it was $5 for a new membership and a $5 store credit toward any movie. So they were like, ooh, I can get something. So they were thinking something for free. Okay, it's not really, is it, if they're already paying me $5? We ran those flyers for 6 months, 8 months at least, something like that. We pretty much got every truck driver, every mechanic, that was mostly it. It was all the mechanic. We had every single mechanic in the greater metro area. It was over 250 mechanics because we would ask, what is your line of work? Because I just like to put survey stuff on. Okay, y'all. I just was curious, do we have teachers who are our customers? That was it. So I understood scheduling. We had we've looked it up. We figured we had almost every single auto mechanic and truck mechanic in the greater metro area had an account with us because I made the ad look like Snap-on Tools.
Wow.
And it was just a flyer put up all over the university, every gas station along the major 3 highways that intersect our town. And that was it. That was literally it. Anywhere there was a bulletin board, we would put it up. So laundromats, anywhere, people would take them down and show them to a mechanic. Look at that. It looks just like Snap-on Tools. It was not hard to make this. Okay. There was no tool. There was no little toolbox. I think I may have put a tiny toolbox in one of the corners, just like the Snap-on one. I found it was a clip art. It was just a tiny little red toolbox. And has nothing to do with videos. And it worked. I'm just saying, just copy something. The general look, not specifically. Just to give it that vibe. Think about it that way. You're just copying a vibe. It is very effective. That's why it matters to know what your demographics are. That's why it matters. So you need to know your genre demographics. I feel like we've talked about genre demographics a lot, but is there anyone who is still confused about it? I will be happy to explain it now or later. I just want y'all to know. I understand if the way I've explained it already, it didn't quite click for you. So ask me again. It's totally fine. But it seems straightforward to me. So what last night, Tom and I were talking, I was like, okay, so as a librarian, I can literally tell you, if you like cozy mysteries and you're a reader, number one, you're probably a woman. It's less than 20% of our cozy mystery readers were men. Honestly, it was more like 12% of elderly men. But if you like cozy mysteries, and what is it, Cornelia Funk is out. All the books, you've read them all, and all her newest books are all checked out. Who are you going to go to next? You're going to go to all the other food-related mystery writers. I do not remember all of them. There was 6. You're going to go through all of them. If you've already gone through all of them, if you skew on the younger age, then you're going to go to J.D. Robb. That's Nora Roberts' pseudonym for mystery. But a lot of the older ladies do not like J.D. Robb because she curses. So, and again, J.D. Robb, she was trying to appeal to more men. So that's what they went with. But if you are older, you will go through all these other writers. And I was talking to Tom, but if you are truly smack dab in the middle age, Eventually, you will end up at Eric Jerome Dickey. He writes, I just found out he passed away this year, but he wrote crime fiction, very similar to Walter Mosley, like who wrote Devil in a Blue Dress. But like, as I said, I've never actually read his books. However, because I'm not that much into mysteries, but what my impression of it, again, not necessarily accurate, is there's always a convertible. There's always a scene where they're driving in a convertible. I don't know why. And there's always either a horse race or they're at a racetrack at some point. This is like a guaranteed Jerome Dickey. Every time. And I was like, and they'll literally, these mystery readers will start going through our free book and our sales book sections, looking for mystery books they haven't read. They get so desperate when they run out. So like cozy mystery readers will eventually end up over in crime, police procedurals and other crime solving books just because they're that desperate to read stuff. Versus like if you started off on Laurel K. Hamilton, God bless me. Y'all, Laurel K. Hamilton readers are fascinating. They are always start off as young women, usually over 21, and usually never starting reading, never over like 33. Usually, they'll age out, but that's fine. They read everything. They're the ones who come in with their list of Laurel K. Hamilton books they haven't read yet. It is dog-eared. It's got stains on it. I'm not sure I want to touch anymore. But they've got this list, and they mark them out one by. They're going to get all of these. They are dedicated. They, on the other hand, will go over to Jim Butcher, but Jim Butcher readers will not go over to Laurel K. Hamilton. Because both male and female Jim Butcher readers think Laurel K. Hamilton is soft. They don't want a soft reader. Jim Butcher has fantasy creatures, and they think Laurel K. Hamilton is soft with her vampires and her ghosts, y'all. And it's like, I have to sometimes have a sit down of like, you said you're desperate to read books. If you love me, you will take this Laurel K. Hamilton book home, and you will give her a try, because I have nothing else for you until the latest Jim Butcher book gets returned, okay? And they'll be like, for you, Glory, I will take this home. That's what it's like dealing with some of these readers. They are so loyal. And they are dedicated. But you need to know who your readers are. And the only way you're going to figure it out is you have to go in there and get dirty. Anytime you get a bad review for your book, it means you've hit the wrong demographic. Straight up. That is how you should be looking at every bad review. It is not, no matter what they say in their review, that is not a reflection of who you are or your story. It is a reflection of you, the wrong reader to the wrong book. It is, on the other hand, a good review for any other reader. Readers will look at that review and go, am I like this reader or am I not like this reader? And that will tell them whether they should read the book or not. So do not worry about bad reviews as far as the quality of your book necessarily or anything. You should look at bad reviews as my marketing did not quite work. Mm-hmm. Unless they say in the bad review, that someone gave them this book and swore they'd like it and they didn't. Then it's not your fault. That's not your marketing. Your marketing is great. Your story is great. It's just someone else loved it so much they forced this other person who is not
poor person.
This poor person to read this book. And it's so against everything they like about books, they felt the need to tell the world. It will still help readers. Please don't argue with the reviewers. Please don't get into it.
Just stay out of it.
Please. I don't care who they're shipping who. I don't care. Look, I'm going to say this as a Jewish woman. I don't care if they're shipping one of your characters with Hitler. Like, just stay out of it. Just stay out of it. It's not for you. However, I would recommend that someone in your life monitor the reviews to see if you get bad reviews, because that will inform how your marketing is going. That's what you need to know. That's why people still care, like people in the publishing industry care about bad reviews, is because it helps inform marketing. Because they want to be sure they're hitting the right marketing. They want to be sure they're getting the right person to the right book. Because that is what, once your book is published, whether you publish it or other people publish it, doesn't matter. It's about getting the right reader to the right book. That is actually the challenge. It's a lot like matchmaking, isn't it? It's a lot like, please make me a match. I'm so desperate and lonely. Yes, we're all going to sing it in our head now.
And Barrett asked a question a while ago. It said, what are your feelings about hiring promotional professionals? I would definitely do it if I needed to.
I mean,
I would still check on other people's experiences with them. It's such a, I don't know how to put it, like it's a soft market. It's a soft skill that you need to talk to other people who've had them work with them to see if this is someone you can work with.
Yeah. Are they even offering what you're really looking for is very important, because they might think they did a great job and you're just like, no, this is not what I wanted at all. So yeah. We'll definitely look into other people's experiences. That's what I would do for anything editing, the whole nine, especially as an indie. I'm going to ask other people, you use this person, what did you think?
Which does bring up, like, next week's episode is about community building on July 19th, y'all. And I just want to point out, we will, like, that is one of the very important reasons to build community, is so you have a network to ask, hey, which editor do you think I should try to see if they're available for this book? Like, which alpha readers or critique partners do you think are good for the story I'm working on? That's where community building is really super important. For the writer. That's one of the reasons. I mean, and we also, of course, will talk about building your reader community, which, again, we will bring up. Swag. Y'all, I have done some amazing things with swag. Like, it is worth it to set aside budget money in your marketing and advertising specifically just to buy things you can, like, have printed with your information on it. Like pens, postcards, bookmarks, koozies, whatever you got, whatever you like. Like, honestly, if you wrote a book that takes place in the country and is about good old gals and good old boys doing good old things, I don't know, trucks are involved, I'm guessing. Maybe it's a mystery. I have no idea. I would definitely print koozies.
And see if you could get your bookmarks scented with either pine, smoke, or, let's be honest, a little bit of diesel fuel.
That's gross. But I am the kind of person, though, who would have pine scent in one of those little spray bottles and just spray the envelope before I mail it. So the paper absorbs it. Like, I have been known, like, when I had the home party business, anytime you place an order with me and I would deliver it, it would come in this really pretty colored shopping bag. Like those paper bags that are really nice, like gift bags. They're like gift bags. And there would be colored tissue paper inside. And I scented the tissue paper because, I'm that quality woman. But what did I scent it with? I went to Walmart and found some after shower body sprays that I was like, oh, this smells nice but neutral. And I just used that. People loved it. Like, it was a cucumber melon one that I thought was, like, kind of neutral, like, because I knew some men liked the smell of cucumber melon as well. And that's what I used to scent the tissue paper that I would stuff all the bags with. Not a lot of the scent, just a little bit, unless they told me that they had, like, they couldn't do perfumes and things. In which case, they got no perfume bag. They just got tissue paper. But anyhow,
I believe it's time for a break.
Yeah. A secret Santa. That's awesome. Okay. All right. We're going to do another break. I hope you're all ready. Are you ready to get the snacks or do the writing? Get the blankets if you're cold. Look, Nia, I agree I feel like AC comes in too cold and then it doesn't disperse well. I feel like we're still working with 1950s AC technology.
Yeah.
So I agree with you that, like, while I do like it colder in my room, I still don't like the way the cold air is administered.
Feels like winter just starts happening when the AC cuts on. It's like, I was barely comfortable and now the cold air is just blowing on me.
Right. I agree with you. I don't like how it comes in. But on the other hand, if it gets too warm, like, I'm just sitting here sweating.
That's true.
Or as we say in Yiddish, I'm just schwitzing. I'm just schwitzing and I feel like an animal. So
I'm always cold, but I don't want to go without AC at the same time.
Right,
Like,
yeah, because you don't want to be sweating. It's gross.
Yeah, no, I don't want that.
Yeah, I prefer the 21st century over the.
I would say with the weather weirding, it makes me even less interested in ever moving, much north of the Tennessee line, because there's not enough AC units installed up there, and it's like, no, I want to be down where everything has central air.
Yes.
If not multiple AC units in the windows. Like,
yes.
No, we got this place covered in AC.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right.
Well, yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break, and we're going to watch some puppies, y'all, and I will see you back here in 10 minutes. See you soon. Hello, my lovely. How did everybody do?
Good. Just finishing up the sentence.
No
I don't know what happened.
Oh no. Thomas a dog.
He's been threatening this for weeks. So.
I'm glad I'm here for it.
Yes, so Tom will be a dog for the rest of the show. I hope you all are totally understanding.
Oh, yes.
All right. So, Nia, did you get anything written?
I did. I got a couple of pages written, so.
Nice. Very nice. I'm glad. Okay. So, two things. I did actually find the list I made ages ago, actually technically before I was an author tuber, about book release promotional material ideas. And those eyebrows. Anyway, and also Tom pointed out during the break that Eva made a very good point about the difference between copycat and copyright infringement on advertising, marketing materials. That I think is a very salient point. Would Tom the dog like to go over it again like you said to me?
Okay, so the difference between copycatting and copywriting often has to do with, are you in the same field or not? So like using a Snap-on, since we're a video store, is not a problem because there is nothing related between us. We are not in tools. We're not dealing with cars, nothing. So there's no issue. Versus it could be a problem, and there could be some legal ramifications, like if you copy, if you're a writer and you copy another writer's marketing material and just change, what book it's about. Or, if we were a video store and we were using Blockbuster's marketing stuff. But having said that, it is useful, on the other hand, to go look at what's the phrasing that, an author in the same field, in the same genre as you're writing is doing. See how they're phrasing it. How are they trying to communicate with, the similar demographic?
Thank you, Tom.
That was great.
Yeah, those eyebrows kill me. I can't figure out quite where the setting is. Who knows where the setting is to remove our names without
It's under brand.
Oh, that's why I was looking in the totally wrong place. Oh, there. It's all the way at the bottom. Okay, there. You all know who we are. Enjoy.
Is that better?
So weird. So weird. Okay.
Yeah. Chandra, I used to have to do a lot of promotional material for my fitness classes. People love T-shirts, especially if you. Well, I don't know if yoga is the same. I would think so. Cutting T-shirts, cutting T-shirts. Like if you have a branded T-shirt, which you can a lot of times get them for pretty cheap, and then cutting them up into the designs where you cut the sleeves off and you do the fringing and all that stuff. Love those.
Yeah,
love those.
You might be surprised how very affordable some local screen printers can be about T-shirts when you're like, I just need the cheapest T-shirts known to man. What you got? Like I have found now, not to say that like every local place has somebody who's got good rock bottom prices. I just throwing that out there. Okay, so here is my grand list that involved many days of thinking about promotional materials. And some of these are simply because I can do it. I just love Nia like gesticulating, like, no, do you see? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna dot out for just a minute, but absolutely. I will be right back. I want to say bye to my sister.
Yes, go love on her. Okay, candles, lip balm, lip gloss, cuticle oil, hair/beard oil. All these things are things I can make, and I have a bunch of the containers actually already. So that's partly why they're on the list. I know that if you don't already know how to make those, or you're not interested in making them, what you can buy branded is not necessarily quality. So maybe you want to avoid that. But if on the other hand, because let me tell you, it is very easy to make hair and beard oil, as long as you understand the basics behind it, or you find some good recipes online. Always include the ingredient list, though, so people know, because
Yes,
a surprising number of allergies. I've met people with sesame oil allergies. I didn't figure I'd meet anybody down here in the deep South where sesame oil is not really a common oil you run into. I've met people with sesame oil allergies. So I've had to adjust before. So like essentially make them a special batch, but they loved it. Bookmarks, magnets, posters. You can do regular size, 9x11 posters as well as larger ones. Door hangers. I do not know why people love door hangers still in the 21st century, but they do, particularly if they're the kind of person who lives in a dormitory. Like if you're aiming at college age students, or, even high school students, because they like to put the door hangers on of like, do not disturb, or come on in, those that you can flip. They love those. Coasters. I love coasters. Notebooks, notepads, keychains, stickers, koozies, carabiners, if you're writing a lesbian romance.
It's true, though.
It's so true. It's true. Pens, phone pop socket hand grips. Okay, I'm too young to understand why people love that, but branded pop sockets are really big. Tea blends, you can make those tea blends yourself, or honestly, if you can find somebody who makes tea blends, like a small business owner, they can essentially, you can talk to them about pricing for making you sample size tea blends for a tea blend specific to like your book. Something like, if there's certain things, maybe it's like a cozy mystery or a cozy romance or even science fiction. Like, you'd be surprised where you're like, but Gloria, a tea blend for a sci-fi novel? You would be surprised who has ideas of what a science fiction-y tea blends taste like, and that you might actually grow to really love. So I'm just throwing that there. Because if you read books, apparently you love to drink hot beverages. It's a thing. Or cold beverages. Even says if you want people to do unboxings, add things that are trending in your niche. That's a great tip. Themed mugs, bath bombs. I love making bath bombs, y'all. So that's just me. Chandler says, I need to talk to my local tea shop about that. Yeah, I would definitely agree. Or at least they could even tell you what tea blends or teas are available that you could buy, they could get for you in bulk, and then you could honestly just package up in little baggies for them, for your customers, I mean. Like where it's like Chandra approved yoga tea. Just throwing that out there. Playlists.
Detox tea, let's be honest. You just call, if it's yoga, just call it, detoxing tea.
Detox or relaxing tea.
Yeah, or relaxing.
Yes. Playlists to go with whatever it is you're promoting. Hi, sweetie. Hey. Did you get all the kisses and hugs?
I did.
Hey. But playlists to go with whatever you're promoting, whether it's yoga, or your book playlists, and you can have multiple playlists. I just want to point this out. But like, you can tell people, like, I have a special playlist. If you fill out this newsletter, I will send you a link to my favorite playlist I listen to while writing this. People love it, and it didn't actually cost you anything, particularly if you put it like on a widely available platform like Spotify or Pandora.
Yeah, I missed a lot of this, but I will say playlist definitely. All my peeps always love to have the playlist. Yes. Anything that's like a lip gloss that you can, or a chapstick that you can get really, you can usually get a good one for pretty cheap. Hand towels, if you can get some type of branded hand towel, or even if it's not branded, get wrist. If you can get which you can get wristbands, and then you can wrap the hand towel in the wristband. Just like so many cool things, and they will love it. And then we used to put together gift bags. I used to do a lot, especially with my fitness stuff. Before the panorama happened, I would do events and stuff like that for charity.
Yeah.
For charity.
I love being able to give away things. People love free stuff. Okay, so and I just want to point out, you're like, not you, Nia, but like other people or people who watch later, because we have actually been surprisingly growing in the number of people who rewatch or watch the show later. Just want to point out, you're like, Glory, I think you just want an excuse to give people free things, and how am I going to make profit? Okay, so this is something Tom and I were also talking about during the break, was me talking about ROI. So what is ROI? ROI is return on investment. That's literally what it means. So, and Tom asked me, do you remember what the ROI was on giving away free things at the video store? And I actually do, because how could I forget this? So here's how I remember it. This is actually how I remember it. So we used to sell, I think they probably still sell lube, sample size lube in fish bowls. And you've seen them. Candy comes in these plastic fishbowl things, but it's called a fishbowl. It would be $100 for a fishbowl, like wholesale. It would cost me $100 for 244 sample for a lube, right? I made $10 back for every dollar I spent on things I gave away. So $100 fishbowl, I would make for the video store an extra $1,000 within 2 months of giving it away. So it would take us usually on average 2 months to give away an entire fishbowl of sample size items. And then it would take another 2 months for us to get our full ROI back just on giving away a fishbowl worth of items. So it was a 10-to-1 ratio on ROI. Whether it was pens, the pens cost me 40 cents each. Honestly, the pens were more like a 20-to-1 ratio on ROI. So for every dollar I spent, I would get $20 back on free pens I would give away. We got nice pens. We had the nice pens with the grip on it, and they were a little bit thicker, so my hand didn't cramp up as much. You know, they weren't the cheap pens. They were the nice pens.
Yeah. But like what are the things
like this? And they cost us usually about 40 cents each. So we'd get somewhere between 100 and 1,000 of these in a box. And we would make about $20 back for every dollar we spent on pens. And that's why I'm actually saying, like, look, I know this sounds like Gloria just wants an excuse to give away free things. No. I like free things for me. I don't live on giving away free things. However, the amount of ROI you can make on giving away free things is tremendous.
Yeah.
So, but you can't just keep doing the same thing. At a certain point, people are like, I don't need any more pens from you. Like, legitimate. So that's why, like, I had made a whole list for promotional materials for book release. So crochet flowers. I like to crochet flowers, y'all. You've seen me on my Twitch stream crochet flowers. I could do this forever. So literally have a tote filled with flowers that just, it's like called Glory's mental health flowers, because I make them anytime I wasn't feeling well at the library. I mean, mentally. Coffee blends. Okay, I actually like to blend coffees. I pre-ground or I grind them. I don't care, but I have my own particular taste about coffee. So I make coffee blends and I've given them away as gifts. By the way, all these options are fantastic for gift baskets. Pralines. So there are several candy companies in our area who make pralines because we're Southern. And they individually package pralines. People love to receive those. So let me explain how this works, because you're like, how does a book have anything to do with candy? You slap your sticker, or you sticker it to a postcard with your information. Number one, it now counts as advertising, so it's tax deductible. And number two, do you remember what I said about ROI? 10-to-1 to 20-to-1, depending on the item. An ROI of for every dollar you spend, you get $10 to $20 back. The minimum you'll get back is $5 for every dollar you spend. Chandra says, can I also say, if you're doing pens, that's not the place to skimp. Test the quality. Poor quality is associated with poor products. I agree. That's why, like, we always had the nice pens. And I always asked for a free sample. Please, for the pen company to mail me a free sample so I could try the pens.
Make sure it's spelled right.
Oh, yes. Ask for a free sample of the printing. You need to always pay extra, the $20 or $30 extra, to pre-approve the little your contact information. You would not believe how many people misspell videos and more in sales at various pen imprint companies. Like, it's not like a name of a person that maybe is spelled differently. Videos is always spelled like videos. I've gotten Vitos, END, more, MOORE. And I'm like, I literally spelled it out over the phone. How did you still get it wrong?
Or Nidios.
Nidios, that was another one.
Awesome. One more thing. For some things, you don't have to give everything away. If you have to order something in bulk and you're like, oh no, this is going to cost me more than I was hoping, offer the rest of it as merch. Do some giveaway and then do some merch. That's how I did with my t-shirts. I'd do a giveaway with the t-shirts, and then I would be like, oh, we're going to have a cutting class where I show them how to cut up their t-shirts or whatever. Everybody else would buy them. They would buy extra t-shirts. I always ran out of t-shirts.
Yeah, we had t-shirts printed out for staff at the video store. And then customers kept asking us if they could buy the video store staff shirts. And I'm like, why?
People like t-shirts.
Why? They wanted to pay full price for them. I'm like, okay, let me know what size you want, and I'll add it to the order. Because we usually just did custom orders since I could get it from local screen printers. So we would only order what we needed plus a few extras for future staff, because I'm like, okay, I had an issue with, as I said, y'all know I used to hire college students a lot. The clothes they would wear. And I'm like, you look like you haven't seen a laundromat in 5 years. You can't, why are you coming to work like this? So I would, and when I say that, I'm talking about this dog here would come in shirts that I'm like, you can't come in shirts. We're wearing 10 holes in it and only, 4 are normal holes. 2 armholes and neck. So yeah, we had t-shirts we gave away. Hot chocolate mix blends. Okay, I also have opinions about hot chocolate, and I make my own hot chocolate mix. If anybody needs recipes, let me know. But these also make great gift baskets. Themed soap. I have friends who make soap. I've also gotten into making soap, but you can just buy sample size soap from local soap makers. And this I did do once when none of the soap makers were available. They were all backed up. This is several years ago when the economy was going better. I went to the Asian market, and they had these lovely fine soaps, all individually wrapped. You better believe I unwrapped them and put my own wrapping paper on it and put those in gift baskets. So that's what I was actually doing. Mm-hmm. It's gift baskets. Oh, let me tell you. I mean, I still put the ingredients and everything on there. I copied it over. And I was like, look, these go great in just your underwear drawer to scent, because everyone in the Deep South has problems with junky moths. So, because moths don't like strong scents, you just put an unwrapped soap bar in your underwear drawer or your sock drawer, and it keeps moths away from eating all your lovely clothes. That's a little tip there. Bath salts. I love making Epsom salts, scented Epsom salts, but you can buy them in bulk, and you just package them in little containers. And people love it. Local snacks. Again, like here we have a company that makes different kinds of popcorns. And they make university themed popcorns and local high school themed popcorns and all that. And, with chocolate and everything, they have little sample size. So you can get 50 little sample bags and put them in gift bags.
And put your sticker on it.
And you put it in a sticker, and it's called advertising. It's tax deductible. And again, remember that ROI.
Maybe I do know a little bit about marketing. I just never thought about doing some of these. Well, some of the things I have thought about doing for writing that come over from the fitness side, but some of them I'm like, maybe that would work too.
It would definitely. Hello, Tessa. I have hairpins on here. Here's a fun fact. You take a bobby pin, and you take a big vintage button, and you can even sometimes thread the bobby pin through it, and then a little bit of hot glue, or what is that, E6000, if you are more familiar. Just a dab of E6000 on it, and it'll stick the button on, and then you have this really pretty little hairpin. And if there's a character in there that would wear that kind of hairpin, it can be kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And It's fun. You can even like make a little quick video of you making it and like, here, I've made you a bunch of little gifts for my readers. Brooches, same thing. You take anything and make a brooch out of it, honest to God. And you can buy the brooch backs at any kind of craft store. You would not believe how inexpensive they are. The brooch backs. And that's what they're called, by the way. If you're Googling it because you want to buy it on Amazon or something, it's called brooch backs or hairpin backs. Printed t-shirts we talked about. Printed tote bags. Oh, I love printed tote bags so much, y'all. I live on it. And crochet bags because I crochet. And so I was like, oh, I could do giveaways. I could do all sorts of stuff so that people could have things. People love handmade things, and they love things unique to you, the writer made it, or, you know, you that made something handcrafted. Like if I crochet something, it is made with love, y'all. So if you're getting something for me that's crocheted, that is like you have a whole thing made with love right there. You can wear and know it's just love coming back. As well as I could get it out of my house. Some of these were ways to get stuff out of my house, quite frankly. But into good homes. They'll go to good homes. It's something to think about of how can you give away things. Remember, if you stick your sticker on it or put your postcard with it, tape it to your postcard that has your information about the book and so on, that is an advertising expense. It is tax deductible. And people will appreciate it. They will feel loved. Let them know they are appreciated.
Also, now when we live in a time of online access to absolutely anything we can think of in the world through Amazon and every other website, and you don't have to go anywhere, having unique items is the real selling point to people of, I like this author so much that I have, the merch you can only get through them.
Right.
And it's a way to say, look, I'm really in the club.
It is like a cred thing, I will say. By the way, lip gloss is so easy to make, and you can buy the little containers. You just pour it in. The real secret to really glossy lip gloss is castor oil. If anybody needs any recipes, let me know, and I will go through my stuff and get you my actual recipes I've used.
Meet me in the after party.
Yes, I will meet you in the after party.
I love that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh yes, bring it.
Yeah, I have recipes for lotions and all, like the lotion bars. When lotion bars were hugely popular about 5-6 years ago, all sorts of stuff. Because I am all about the self-care, particularly skin. Because of the Ehlers-Danlos, I'm very serious about it. But it's hard to find good skincare products that are affordable. There's plenty of cheap skincare products out there that are not great. But like, for instance, with a lot of skins I found, if you need to heal skin, people have recurrent rashes or staph infection. Not like the kind that would get someone in the hospital, but I had a friend whose daughter was in band and marching band. Every summer they're out there. And she ended up with this low-level staph infection the dermatologist couldn't fix. It wasn't dangerous to her. She's a teenager, though. And I was like, you've tried everything and nothing has worked? The answer is ultra-refined shea butter. They put it on every day for 2 weeks, and it did heal. I am not saying that, this is like a cure for things. But I'm saying that shea butter actually really helps wounded skin heal. In Africa, they eat with it. So it is very safe to use. It's fantastic. But I'm just saying, like, I pay a lot of attention to skincare stuff. So I have heavily researched this. We could talk about, medium chain and long chain and short chain oils till, like, I'm blue in the face. And y'all have seen me talk, so we could talk a long time. So anyhow, now that I've talked about the things I want to talk about from the break, we're halfway through the third hour. Does anybody else have anything they want to add about solutions for demographics and branding? Nia, do you feel like you've said all the things off your chest? Like you feel?
As far as solutions, I think
you got problems? We'll talk problems. We're like, look, y'all, I've talked about, like, I had years ago, I designed a business card that says, have solutions, will travel. Glory.
Yeah. I think for me, my biggest problem was that I don't like using social media. This type of stuff, for some reason, I don't know why, but just doing a live, even the after party where we're all backstage, that's easy for me. And I'm a little bit of an introvert, but so I don't know why things like Twitter and Instagram don't jive with me. So especially Twitter, I feel like it's so touchy over there. I don't know. It's just not my vibe. It's just a different vibe. It's not my thing. But I understand its usefulness. And sometimes I do go there for information, if that makes sense. But I don't necessarily want to be on there chatting it up. I don't feel like that's...
Oh, I understand. Like, I go to Twitter for anything hurricane information related. If they're talking about there's a tropical storm coming, I'm on Twitter to see what is the absolute latest.
Yes, Twitter is up to date. Like, it's happening to me right now. It's so up to date. So for that, yes. But as far as like socializing on it, I don't feel like that's my speed. I like the idea of TikTok, but I also don't get it. But so there are mediums that can be useful in our branding that sometimes we have to either tolerate or get used to or jump all in on. Like with Twitch. At first I thought, I don't know if Twitch is my speed. Tried it and I'm like, I really like Twitch. Just like YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's finding those
YouTube
platforms. Yeah, find those platforms that work for you. I think that would be like a very important part of branding is explore various platforms and see what meshes with the way your brain works.
Yep.
Something else also that can help, just hearing the way you were talking about, posts and other things, and that this is easy, but Instagram and such take more mental effort. I think some of that is because of it's something you don't have as much experience in, so it takes a lot more effort to figure out and think what you're going to do. So like one thing to keep note of is whenever you're going through Instagram and you notice anyone else's, especially like in our case, writers, but it could be anyone's stuff, an interesting post, have some centralized place you can make a note of what was that post about so that you can look through and essentially have a whole lot of writing prompts for yourself of what to do for your own posts on social media.
Like you could snap a screenshot of their post and then email it to yourself, or if you have like a texting, area, you could text it to yourself or a group with someone else who understands. It's just the two of us and I'm really just trying to like talk about.
Or like Discord or Telegram to just post it into a specially made room just for that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that way, when you're like, I need to have some social media stuff to go post up, go look through your idea, wall of everyone else's stuff so that you can more easily come up with, all right, what is it I would like, what would I like to do my own take on? Because I know from doing other companies' social medias, that is one of the hardest parts is like, what do I post on here? Yeah. What is of interest? What can be relatable? And it's like, it helps a lot if essentially you just have a large supply of ideas that other people have done that you're like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's what we actually used to call going to the well, was Tom and I had a little group chat that was just about where Tom used to work. He worked for a medical office in the front reception area, but he did all their social media. So anytime I came across interesting articles that were related to what they did in that clinic, and any memes I found that were related to like that kind of clinic work that they did, I would send it. He also, when he would come across stuff, he would send it to this little group chat we had so that he could just dip into the well anytime he needed to post or set up posts like for the holiday weekend or something. And he was always ready. He'd already essentially dealt with the inspiration part beforehand. And then it's just now actually doing the work, writing up the little little copy is what we call it, the little blurb. And then posting the meme or things. Oh gosh, there were like some really fun memes that we found that were clinic life related. That this people who followed this clinic on Facebook or whatever you call it, click like on it, loved it. They would share these. These were very viral stuff. They absolutely loved it. So again, I think it's about like finding a way to break down all the steps you need to do into baby steps and figure out how to sort of incorporate all these various baby steps in the life you're already leaving. Of like, yeah, all right, I collect the memes and I put them here. So when I need to like dip into the well, pull it out, I got something more to post to social media. So that you have something to essentially fill in when you're like, I don't know what to talk about. Stuff. I'm in the middle of writing. I'm in writer brain. I can't.
And sometimes you'll have ideas for holidays and things that are coming up, later in the year. Now is not the time. It's summertime. Now is not the time to be making posts about winter and snow. Well, it helps if you have a place though to store it, so that you can then make that post later on when it's appropriate, and you've probably now forgotten what the original great idea was.
Oh, yeah, you've definitely forgotten it.
Yeah.
You've left. But, past you has already taken care of it. They've put it in that group chat or that file or, whatever, and it's there. You just now pull it out. So I promise it's very doable. I promise. Look, if I could do it, I am the most mediocre person y'all will ever meet. I am middle of the road as humanly possible. I don't mean to be. That's just how I am. Every time I think I'm exceptional, it turns out, no, I'm like middle of the road. There's nothing really exceptional about me, except that I'm always like, how can I do this ahead of time? How can I save future glory, heartache, pain, exhaustion? How can I help her out? Is like what I live and breathe, is how can I help future glory now? And that is the thing that I'm always thinking about, is how to do all these little things in a way like, do you remember that game, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt? Were you trying to do all this stuff? Okay. Clumsy child syndrome. No. But like, that was my idea from a child, was like, okay, and so even at home afterwards, I would practice the like rubbing and I'm still not great at it. But I would do, all right, John Jacob Jingleheimer. I would practice this on the sidewalk. People would literally go up to my parents and like, there's a child in front of your house that looks like they're in distress. It was just me in the summertime with my red face practicing in the heat. People thought I was having seizures sometimes.
You have to see the sun at some point, little Glory. No, I'll burn.
Go outside, Mom. And she's like, please, they'll say I'm a bad mom. And then blocked the door. She literally blocked the door. She pulled the dresser in front of the front door so I couldn't get in the house. And I'll be like, I can feel the burning. And I can hear Dad going, let her in, Patty. The cancer, Daddy. All right, let her in. But I would be out there practicing the John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt thing so that I could eventually get good at it. That is how I think of doing these things that seem uncomfortable or foreign to me, is how can I make them into smaller and smaller baby steps till they're absolutely doable, or till they're as simple as humanly possible. You might think, I'm exhausted. I'm too exhausted to make chicken and dressing tonight, Glory. And I'm like, okay, just chop up an onion. Just chop up an onion. And it's like, well, okay, I could chop up an onion, but then I got to sit. Yes. Okay. Go sit, go do other things, go live stream. And then it's like, okay, let's just dump everything in there. The chicken, the cornbread stuffing, dressing, whatever. And the chicken soup, stir it a little, and then we'll pressure set it for 5 minutes and dinner's done. Like, it's like, how can I make this smaller and smaller steps till they're doable? That is how I spend my life, because, we've talked about, I was always, what they call a special needs child. People said I'd never be able to live alone. They said I'd never hold down a professional job. They said I'd never be able to complete higher education. I'd never be able to do all these things. So I've spent my whole life thinking, how do I make it smaller and smaller step till I can do that? Because I can't do huge things. I am not one of those people who can just push through and stay focused for long time. I'm not that. That's not me and never has been. And yet I have accomplished so much. My mother was like, I'm so tired of hearing from doctors how you'll never accomplish anything, so we're going to write a cookbook. Y'all, I did the majority of the work, not my mother. My mother went over with me of all the steps it was going to take to write a cookbook. And then she's like, you're the project manager and you're in charge of this. You're the one who's in charge to tell me what I need to do. And so that is what we did. I was in charge of all the recipes. I had to come up with the recipes. I had to write out the recipes. And then she had to test out the recipes because we had to foolproof them. And that's how I found out that my mother did not know how to follow directions. But at all. But people loved our cookbook. Of the 500 people who bought our cookbook, everybody thought they were fantastic because they were foolproof. I did that at 15 because we went over step by step by step. So I'm just trying to say, I'm not trying, the long-winded version of everything is doable. And if you're like, it still seems insurmountable, my answer to you is come to the after party and let me know you need the link. And I will send you the link and come to the after party and we will figure it out there. And if it's too lengthy there's not enough time to figure it out there, you and I will just do our own little backstage StreamYard sometime. And we will figure out how many steps to figure this out. Because you can accomplish everything that you want to in the world, except with like a few, like if you don't have the money, I don't know how I'm going to get you to space, but you'd be surprised. We'll try it. We will figure out all the tiny steps it will take to get you there. So this whole branding thing, writers can do this. We literally make up worlds in our head. This is doable.
Yes.
I promise you. Even though it sounds daunting, and that's what I keep hearing from fellow writers is, oh, this is so much. I don't know that I can do it. Who has the time for it? And I'm like, I get the feeling. That's relatable.
Yeah. For me, the branding on them is fine because that makes sense to me. Like, oh, you're going to make a look that's you. So when people go, they know that it's you. There's a certain expectation of, what you're about, what you're writing. So that part of it makes sense. It's the posting part. I'm like, what? So those are some awesome tips. I'm definitely going to.
I would love to hear back from you later with feedback about like what bumps you encountered. So if you think about it when you are encountering a bump or when you just finished a bump.
Oh, I know the bump.
To message me and tell me like how it went.
Yeah.
Or how I could help.
Yeah, I know the bump that was the last one for me as far as Twitter. It was literally that I responded to someone I was following. We were having a conversation, and someone else understood the conversation, responded to me, a very pleasant response, and I was going to respond to them. They deleted that comment and then made another comment deliberately misinterpreting what I said. Now, your comments don't disappear when they go right to you. I forget what it's called because I'm never on Twitter anymore.
You mean the mentions?
The mentions. So her correct assertion is in my mentions, but just the fact that this is what Twitter is. She wanted to have an argument. She'd rather have an argument than a conversation. She understood what I said, but instead decided to delete that comment, that response. So it was a perfectly fine response to make a response that was an argument and cause some sort of drama. I responded, you understood what I said before. I don't know where you got this assertion from, but we're done. And that's how I am. Yeah. I don't get into it with people when I'm in a situation that's uncomfortable or someone seems like they want to come at me. I'm like, we're done. I don't deal.
And there are further things.
That's what I saw a lot on Twitter.
On Twitter. Like, for instance, I would have screenshot their original comment that's still in my notes. Good.
I was like,
and then after I replied to them with, you already, like, here's the receipts, I brought them, here they are, is frankly, I would have blocked them so that they cannot follow me on other things and talk to my friends. When you're a public figure, which we're all talking about being semi-public, let's be honest, like we're, essentially small business owners trying to become more public. When you block abusive people, you are protecting all the people who follow you. So that is another thing about Twitter that I recommend is Do not mute abusive people, block them in order to protect your people, the people who follow you, so they're not getting picked upon. Because I wouldn't be surprised if the person you had replied to, if this person had already caused problems with the person you were replying to before, and the first person...
They had. Somebody else came into my DMs and was like, that person always causes trouble. So they'll start a dialogue with you, and then all of a sudden they twist it around for drama.
And
so
the first
they're like,
person,
avoid.
Frankly, should have been blocking them. But maybe they did not know better. But I'm just saying, like, there are approaches to take that I would have recommended. Not like, I'm not trying to, like, Monday morning quarterback you. That's
no. That's
because I only learned during the past administration about the whole block abusive people. I did not know that when you don't block them, you are essentially making everyone who follows you open to also being bullied. And so I only learned about 4 years ago about this.
Oh, see, I'm not on it enough to know that. I was on it enough to know that when someone would block someone, they would pop up and say, "Oh, they blocked me. They were scared," or something like that. And so that whole scene, all of that is just stuff that I'm just like, you guys know me. I'm like,
and I would agree, like, particularly in the past few years, like, it really became bad in the last 5 or 6 years. Particularly 5 or 6 years ago, it became quite abusive on Twitter. There was essentially this whole white supremacist sub thread among their censors in Twitter corporate, that was creating this abusive environment among the users that Twitter had to first address. They had hired a lot of people who were members of various white supremacist groups to work as censors. Oh yeah, you better believe people not talking about that. But I was there when that was going on. So I saw people talking about it in real time. Again, that is why I do like Twitter, but I agree that there was a lot of abusiveness going on in Twitter. I had several years of, like, really unpleasant people that I was dealing with in my timeline a lot. And that has only recently improved, like, literally since they did a whole overhaul for the 3rd time of their censors and their policies. So, and that's where we saw the latest round of where people lost their Twitter platform. So it's been very recent. But it has overall improved. I would say it has improved in the last year.
That's good to know.
Not before.
It's been a while now. Probably about a year, I guess. So yeah, it's been a while since I actively have done any.
Absolutely understandable.
And I wasn't even before that. It was around the time that I was thinking about starting AuthorTube that I was like, let me do a Twitter. So you can see I have a lot of followers over on Twitter, but you can see it's literally around the same time, maybe a year or a few months before. I don't even remember. Literally was like, this is not my scene. Yeah. These people are harsh over here and they just want to argue. And I just don't. I don't have the time or energy, physically or emotionally have the energy for that kind of discord.
Even I took a break from Twitter for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I took a break from Twitter, and I loved Twitter years before. I met some amazing fans on Twitter who, I eventually met in real life, and they were absolutely wonderful. But, the last few years were pretty dark, and it wasn't great. It's only improved in the last, I would say, less than a year.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what, some people got real up close with Jack Dorsey and said, this is literally your fault. You have created this environment and you have tolerated this environment. Again, we do not tolerate those who do not tolerate anyone or do not tolerate certain people. If they tolerate everyone but one group, still a flag. It's still a red flag.
Yeah, this is the whole Twitter thing particularly has been a big conversation, especially lately going around in the Bookstagram side of our YouTube community. And when I would comment, I'm just given up on Twitter. So many people have, because of this toxic environment. If you don't have it, I don't know, I don't want to say fortitude, because I feel like it's okay to say no, that's not for me, but I would still use Twitter for an author platform as long as all I had to use it for was the promotion of whatever book or whatever. If I have to use it to try and get my thoughts and ideas out and try to explain something to somebody, Twitter's not the place where, even though they've increased the number of characters that you can use, Twitter's not a place for a nuanced conversation. And that's one of the conclusions that we came to. It's either this way or that way. There is no middle, and there's no room to have a discourse about it. It's one way or the other. You're wrong or you're wrong. And if you have the wrong take on something, you're done. If you're of a certain group, you'll be uplifted if you're of another group. Man, it's weird. It's just a weird place. I don't want to have.
I mean, honestly, like the bigotry that's baked into pretty much every platform, but yet the bigotry is different. By the way, it's not all forms of bigotry are baked into every platform. It's particular flavors of bigotry are baked into various platforms. Like I was just reading an article about TikTok and how TikTok has Black Lives Matter blocked, but not any of the white supremacist or anti-Semitic phrases blocked at all.
That's crazy.
So like it's every platform, and you can tell a lot about the people who create it and who maintain it by the bigotry that's baked in. So the same goes for Instagram and Facebook. They have the bigotry baked in. It's just different bigotry.
Yeah.
Hence Instagram being such a great format to propagate QAnon stuff and anti-vaxxer stuff. So essentially, it is the misogyny.
I thought that was Facebook. I have more than I'm already avoiding Facebook.
Yeah.
But yeah, my take is use the platforms for what you need to use them for. But I don't necessarily feel like, and this is me not being a published author or anything, I don't feel the need to make Twitter for myself more than the bare minimum. But not because I can't, just because that's not where I want to be at this time. But Twitter could change. And if like you said, the things are changing, if I see that I could totally change my mind on that.
I mean, like the only thing I'd recommend for branding with platforms is I do recommend go ahead and, get your username on any platform as it becomes available. And then go put on there somewhere in the profile, I'm not really on this platform. If you find me at, IG at da-da-da or whatever, so that people know, like, this is not where I am.
And that's also another good use for branding, because since you're using your branding that you use on the other social medias, they know they're looking at the right person. Because there's so many similar usernames and users and everything. It's not always easy to be sure. But if you're using the same branding look, it's easy to go, oh, okay, no, it's this one. I got the right one.
Yes. I made sure I got my name. So I got my name out there on Twitter, and it looks like my branding. So if I do decide to use it, I know that it's there. And the same thing with TikTok, if I ever figure it out. Seems interesting. But they're there. So, but if you go to my Twitter, if eventually I'll check once a month and I'll follow you back when I get around to it. But it's me when you see me.
Yeah.
And if someone starts using a similar name and posting all the time, that's not me.
Right.
Somebody else.
I mean, I don't feel like if branding and platforms are stressing you out, then I would suggest that take a break and figure out another approach. You don't need to be on actively posting on every platform. That is not necessary. Particularly if you know where your demographics are, that is the only place I'd recommend that you actually go. Wherever your demographics are loitering, that's where you go.
Yeah. Now, I would say if your demographics are on Twitter, you need to do it and figure out a way to do it. If you're one of those people that, like me, that's just like, it's not my speed. You may need to just figure out a way to do it and keep that distance for your own mental health at the same time.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would recommend. But like no matter what demographic, most of the time your demographics are going to be on multiple platforms. So it's that John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt thing. Start with one, get comfortable. It may be a year later. It may be more than a year later that you're like, okay, I feel like I have this one down. Maybe I'll try a second platform. Again, you do not have to conquer the world in a day. You do not even need to conquer the world in a year. You got all the time. And you don't have to conquer the whole world, no matter what somebody's told you. So that is all we're suggesting, is little ways that are shortcuts or make things easier. And honestly, when we come to branding and marketing, it's about how to make the biggest ROI, return on investment, for your time and energy.
Yeah. And for authors, I know that they do say that there's a lot of things that happen on Twitter that, especially if you want to be traditionally published, it would benefit you to get in on some of the things that go on. So if you need to have it for those purposes, do it. I suspect mad and things like that.
Right.
They're on Twitter. If you need to have a Twitter to do these things, do it. But protect your mental health and avoid the areas that you need to avoid. I don't do pit mad, so that doesn't bother.
I mean, like,
so it's like, don't get burned out just trying to force something that's not working for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, one of the things was I set up a writer Twitter account, and that was very helpful for me to be essentially careful who I follow. So, because that informs my timeline. And who I'm socializing with. And again, I will plug it, next week's episode where we talk about building writer and reader communities. That can be very helpful, having that community of fellow writers there to kind of help you know what you want to talk about. And there they are, offering the safe space that they've helped carve out with you so that you can talk about these things and that you have someone to talk about it with. You have fellow writers too. You have fellow readers to talk about it with, and being careful who you curate, who you follow. And it is perfectly fine to unfollow people. It really is. Don't worry. They're not going to, you know what? If they're crying at night, they have bigger problems, quite frankly, than you unfollowing them. I am just saying, you would not believe the crap people have said to me, to my face, to my actual in live face, as well as online, and it's like, you will never be as harsh as my mother. It's fine. So no tears. No tears. Do not let what strangers think of you matter. They are not the ones you need to look for validation. The people who dry your tears are the people you should be worrying about validating you. Are they like finding you a valid human being? Or are they like, you got room to grow, honey? Like, I mean, we all do, but you know what I'm saying. Like, do not worry about strangers. I'm here to tell you as Aunt Glory, do not ever worry about what strangers think of you. They don't know you, and they're not paying your bills. They are not there to dry your tears. Do not worry. Just unfollow hateful people and then go ahead and block them too. Because you don't need that in your life. No one is. Also, if anybody tells you that you've added too much butter to something, just go ahead and block them. I'm just saying that now.
Is there such a thing, Glory?
I can't tell you how many people have told me that in my lifetime. What? Too much butter. Now look, here are instances where I may have accidentally added enough butter to cause structural issues with something I was working on. But it still tasted great. It just structurally.
I was gonna say, I'll give them one exception. If you're saying like the cookie doesn't look right. Someone says,
is it just
butter?
Black? It's so much butter. It's just a flat smear.
Yeah. But it was still.
I bet it was like crispy and yummy.
Like, yeah, let me tell you, you crack that up and put it over ice cream, and nobody's like calling foul on this. Okay, nobody's mad. Nobody. What does it matter?
Someone was trying to call foul.
My mother was the one who was saying there was too much butter, and I'm like, how dare you? I thought we were like kin. I told it to her face. Okay, so yeah. Okay. If you have butter in your cookies, don't butter the cookie sheet. Put it on a parchment paper.
I recommend parchment papers anyway. Do it.
Yeah.
And I like spray oil for cookie sheets. But again, everybody's got their thing. You know what? You do you. No, I had an ADHD moment, y'all, was what happened. And I added like way too much butter to the cookie dough. And it was really more like cookie butter. It was delicious, but it was more like it had deep fried itself in the oven in butter.
This doesn't sound bad. It sounds like you made something.
But it wasn't like a regular
cookie
by human standards anymore. It had become its own thing. It was a beautiful like caterpillar that morphed into a moth instead of a butterfly. We still ate her. She was amazing. No tears. But yes, my mother said you added too much butter. And I'm like, oh, no. I just, tested the limits of metaphysics. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, and on parchment paper. Use parchment paper for your cakes, too. They'll pop out. You don't have to worry about anything sticking in case you miss a butter or a Pam spot.
That's good.
Use a parchment paper.
Yeah. Parchment paper is really useful. Love it. I feel like I need to make cookies now. Okay, so anyway. Yeah. And the cookies glued themselves to the sheet. Oh, no.
Oh. So much sadness there.
That is.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did you gnaw them off of the sheet? That's what I would have done.
Another reason to have it on the parchment paper and not aluminum foil. So you don't have to worry about I'm just going to gnaw on this.
I'm very good at peeling tiny strips of aluminum foil off a cookie and then... Every disaster you could possibly have, Tom and I have done. And we have lived to tell the tale. It's totally fine. Also, anyone who tells you there's too much cheese. I had someone once tell me that I put too much cheese on the casserole. And all the rest of us, this was in a church kitchen, and all the rest of us looked at her and went, are you feeling well? And she was like, maybe I'm not feeling well. I'm going to go sit down. I mean, like, y'all, it was theatrical. Yeah, she sat down and like they made her a cup of tea. And she went home early because she was like, why did I say that? There's no such thing. So I'm just saying, you can block those people. If anybody tells you too much butter or too much cheese, just block them. Exactly. I know people who are lactose intolerant who are like, there's no such thing as too much cheese. I agree. Although, hello, Amanda. We're just wrapping up. We're just having a good time. We're just shooting the breeze like Southerners do.
Doing PSAs.
You are always a pleasure. I wish like we live next door to each other. Maybe you don't wish that, but I do. Of like, I just want to go hang out with Nia. See what Nia's doing. Bring her our latest experiments. And
if it's food, I will eat it, but not if it has cheese. But I will find someone who loves cheese to taste it for you.
I feel confident that we can find people. Yeah, because like right now, my next door neighbors don't eat anything with wheat, and I'm like,
oh. It's like, okay, I understand.
This little girl. I mean, they're doing it for health reasons, not like, hipster stuff.
Yeah, I have opinions about when people say keto versus dirty keto. Oh. Don't hurt yourself like that. And I say that as someone who actually does, approve of keto as a diet when you have certain health conditions. Did you say the words dirty keto? I'm just like, oh, I don't want to slap you here, but I might.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
I've done keto.
You what?
I've done keto. It works. But man, you miss some food.
Yes. I would agree. What I liked about keto was it got Tom out of his I hate vegetable phase. Because I love vegetables, period, and I think vegetables are a lovely contribution to our universe. But, it got him really creative about vegetables, and that was nice. Because Tom used to be like, no, there's only one vegetable per night. No.
Yeah. My husband will now eat lots of vegetables, too, since we did the keto. But we needed bread and potatoes.
And rice.
And bread and pasta. Like real pasta.
Yes.
Real bread. It's like,
although we did find some great alternatives, because while Tom was doing keto, I was still on a wheat-free diet, because it was before when I was I think it was before I had found molybdenum to take to avoid all the sinus problems, because it turned out I wasn't able to metabolize sulfites, and they gas wheat in the silos with sulfur for pest control.
Wow.
Yes. So I couldn't consume wheat without a lot of problems. So, we found some lovely alternatives. We ate a lot of rice, too.
Yeah. There's one bread that I make in the bread maker that my son and my husband still swear by, and it's totally a keto bread. I'm like, that stuff's more expensive than just plain white flour, guys. Sorry. And they're like, but now we like it. I'm like, I'll make it for you sometime, but
we do have a wheat-free cornbread recipe that uses stone ground cornmeal and rice flour, and it is my favorite version of cornbread, period of all time. But again, it is more trouble.
Yes. It's a lot of work.
I miss it so much. So anyway, but anyhow, next week we're going to talk about community building again, part 2. Readers and writers community. It's going to be lovely. It's going to be a whole kumbaya episode. You should totally come. Anybody wants to join me on screen, please let me know. You got any ideas you'd like to share with us? We'd absolutely love to have you. And even if you can only come for part of it, we would absolutely love to have you. You should totally come. I'm just saying. Because I have no one lined up, so I'm just saying. Otherwise, it's just going to be me and Tom talking about it.
Yeah. I'll probably show up for that one. As long as if I don't have anything else.
Will I maybe get a Nia? Should I put a pencil in for Nia?
Anything community building, I like that kind of stuff. So
I do too.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about other things that are easy for people with chronic illness or ADD, ADHD to do. Easy ways to build community.
Low mood.
Yeah.
Low mood, folks. The simple stuff. That is how we're going to talk about it. It's going to be delightful. Because we're all about doable shortcuts rather than,
aspirational.
Yes. It's going to be grand. You should all come. And now I think we're going to pretty much wrap up, right? And we're going to go to the after party. If you would like to join us, let me know and I will send you a link. And with that, I think we're going to wave goodbye, everybody. It's been a pleasure having you. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, share.